Everyone stood at the side of the profound being. Some of them had already started to use their powerful strength to attack it, wanting to test how powerful the profound being was. After a round of attacks, those people finally gave up, and when their powerful strength attacks onto the profound being, they were immediately absorbed, with not even a speck of it remaining. Everyone stood at the side of the profound being. Some of them had already started to use their powerful strength to attack it, wanting to test how powerful the profound being was. After a round of attacks, those people finally gave up, and when their powerful strength attacks onto the profound being, they were immediately absorbed, with not even a speck of it remaining. Looks like I can only push the profound being down. A person sighed. Yang Zhu nodded and said, "It seems like there's no other way. Please come with me, I have something important to discuss with you." However, if they were to attack the Chern Marshall continent all by themselves, it would be very difficult for them to take it down. Unless they allied together, even if they joined forces, they would still not have any confidence, because the current Chern Marshall continent was extraordinarily strong. Furthermore, they had sealed Xinjiang. In these past 10 years, the Dragon Subduing School did not make any big movements, as if he was about to disappear from the face of the earth, and the great clan elder did not come to save Xinjiang either. Therefore, everyone believed that the time to attack the Chern Marshall continent was now. Xinjiang and the others followed Yang Jiutao to a secret meeting room, and sat at a long table. Yang Jiutao was not sitting at the seat of honor, but was wearing the robes of a Fire Divine Palace middle-aged man. When the middle-aged man came in, everyone felt a strange pressure, and at this time, everyone's hearts were thumping. They did not expect that there would actually be a Fire Divine Palace ranker hidden here. When he came here, Xinjiang had already guessed that this sacred fire mountain was the Fire Divine Palace's secret headquarters. It was normal for there to be experts from the Fire Divine Palace here, so Xinjiang was not surprised at all. He should be in the middle stage of a mortal monarch. Long Shui said, "To them, this guy is very strong. If this guy were to join when we are attacking Chern Marshall continent, the pressure you guys would be feeling would be even greater." Xinjiang was secretly worried, because it was very easy to nurture a strong ranker at the location of the sacred fire mountain. He did not know how many powerful people there were in this huge sacred fire mountain, so he wanted to kill off this sacred fire mountain. Everyone, the real purpose of coming here is to discuss the preparations for attacking Chern Marshall continent. The immortal monarch said. Everyone nodded their heads. Having such an expert in charge of the meeting gave them a lot of confidence. They were worried that the immortal king would not help them previously, otherwise they would not need to pull the Chern Marshall continent down. The immortal monarch said, "It's been almost 10 years and the great clan elder of Dragon Subduing School has not come to save Xinjiang. We have already confirmed that the great clan elder will not appear anymore. I think this is something that everyone is still worried about." The man from Devil Race said, "But if 10 years pass and we are about to attack Chern Marshall continent, what about the great clan elder from Dragon Subduing School? If we let the little demon Xinjiang out, we would all be in trouble. You are well aware of the strength of our hall master. Even if the great clan elder from Dragon Subduing School appeared, given our hall master's strength, he would definitely be able to stop him from releasing Xinjiang. However, this also means that our hall master is not allowed to fight against the Chern Marshall continent, so we have to join hands with you all." Xinjiang sneered in his heart. If the White Tiger really came, even the palace masters of the 10 Fire Divine Palaces would not be able to stop it. Furthermore, he didn't need the White Tiger to help him right now. He would have to rely on his own strength to come out. "In other words, we can start now, right?" The person who spoke was from the ancient Wasteland Devil sect, and Xinjiang was very familiar with the qi on his body. No matter if it was demon or demon, as long as they wanted to attack Chern Marshall continent, the Fire Divine Palace would gather them together. "Now we can make our move, but before we make our move we have to make some preparations, and we have to get rid of the middle strength of the Chun martial continent. If possible, getting rid of one or two of their leaders is not out of the question, but Dan Fragrance Pure Land, Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, Icy Wind Valley, and all of them are being taken over by a few kids, and the one who is going to take over the Lotus Island is also a little brat. They are all our primary targets. As for the current leader, he is too strong, it is hard to do anything secretly. After Immortal Monarch finished speaking, he looked at Chen Xiang. Now that Chen Xiang was pretending to be Golden Face Ghost Killer, Ghost Killing School was most skilled in such a assassination, and many people from various forces were the same. Chen Xiang did not say anything, and only nodded his head slightly. This was the personality of the Golden Face Ghost Killer. As long as it was in contact with the higher-ups of the Ghost Killing School, they would know these powerful Ghost Killers spoke very little, and did not want others to know their voices, so they all understood. This bunch of BASTARDS let me go ASSA. The Senate Xian and the others. Keep dreaming, I really want to assassinate all of you tonight. Chen Xiang thought that he could indeed use his ident. One tie as the Golden Face Ghost Killer to assassinate these people. As long as he did everything cleanly, no one would know about it. The Immortal Monarch continued. As long as the Ghost Killing School is successful, when the Chun martial continent's great powers suddenly lose their core leader, then we will attack. As for how much time we have, it would depend on the Ghost Killing School's friends. List. Chen Xiang said in an extremely stiff and low voice. Yang Jiotao immediately took out a piece of paper and handed it to Chen Xiang. There were over 10 names on the list. Among them were Shui Xianxian, Ling Yulan, Wu Qianqian, and some other names that he was familiar with. Then there was the Lotus Island's island master, Lian Dongxing, who was an able son of Lian Yingxiao, and was also relatively strong. This was the leader's name, and the remaining few elders who were more useful were the people with great intelligence and were important people among the forces in the Chun martial continent. When should we make our move? One of them asked. The meeting is over. Chen Xiang said coldly. With how quick his actions were, many people admired Ghost Killing School's professional attitude. Furthermore, Ghost Killing School was relatively good at this kind of thing, so they had a lot of confidence in him. As for the benefits obtained from the battle, you don't have to worry about that. As long as we can take down the Chun martial continent and find the dragon fountain that was hidden inside, then the entire Dtion will be ours from now. Yun Che's eyes flashed with a cold light. This, as long as they partook. 1. Aided, they would be able to obtain great benefits from Dtion. If they only relied on themselves, it would be very difficult, and they would also face the risk of destruction. After that, they discussed the time of the attack and the areas that each faction would be responsible for. All of these were memorized by Chen Xiang. If Chen Xiang partook. 1. Aided in this meeting, it would mean that they were late, it was just that no one else knew about it. After the meeting ended, Chen Xiang left by himself while the others had to watch the gigantic profound Bing fall into the crater of the volcano. Chen Xiang was only pretending to leave, but he was actually hiding in the lava at the bottom of the volcano mouth. He reckoned that the profound Bing would only melt in the depths of the volcano, and the person at the top would be unable to go down. The lava inside the volcano was not very hot for Chen Xiang, especially on the surface layer. Chen Xiang had been to the core of the earth before, so it was even more terrifying down there. However, he could endure it, and now that his strength had increased and he had cultivated the body of heavenly sage, he could dive deeper into the ground and the gigantic profound Bing would fall straight to the ground. If it's the corpse of an ancient beast, it would definitely melt in the bottom of this volcano. If it's something edible, then it's even more so. Long Shui was extremely vexed. That profound being was simply too big, and there was even something huge inside. If it could be eaten, it would definitely last a long time. Chen Xiang was already soaked in the flame essence, waiting for the people above to push the gigantic profound being down. Heavenly Dragon Supreme Lord, you don't seem to be lacking in food, what are you thinking about? Chen Xiang laughed. Heavenly Dragon Supreme Lord, you don't seem to be lacking in food, what are you thinking about? Chen Xiang laughed. There isn't a lack of food right now, but I sometimes want to change my appetite. 1T. This thing might be something from the ancient times. Long Shui muttered. With the divine soul that had gone out of his body, Chen Xiang could already see the group of people working together to push down the gigantic profound being. Just how big is this thing inside? Don't tell me it takes up the entire piece of the profound being. Bai Yuyu suddenly thought of something and asked. Chen Xiang thought for a moment, then answered. No, I think I took a small part of it, but compared to this huge profound being, that thing can already be considered to be huge. Bai Yuyu said. For this profound being to become so strange, it could have been caused by the things inside. It must be strong, huge, and definitely not able to be placed inside. This profound being must have definitely been affected by the things inside, so it became like this. Chen Xiang also thought that it was reasonable. What would that be? Bai Yuyu was silent for a moment, then said, I am not sure, but if it really is that thing, then it is possible that we know the reason behind the formation of the profound cold ancient realm. Could this thing have caused the profound cold ancient realm to become the main culprit of this world's ice and snow? Chen Xiang was astonished. He wanted to know what exactly this thing was, to actually be so powerful. Bai Yuyu said, I don't know much about that thing. Let's talk about it after I see it. The gigantic profound being was pushed down from the small island above and fiercely fell into the volcano, causing a large amount of fire essence to splash out. Chen Xiang, who was at the side, was also confused and disoriented by the wild waves of the fire essence. The disturbance was so great that a large amount of hot air rose up from the volcano's crater. This prevented the floating island from releasing any sort of formation to protect itself, otherwise, the disciples would not be able to withstand such a large amount of hot air. After calming down, Chen Xiang immediately went downwards quickly. He even took out the hammer of God, and with the help of its weight, he quickly descended and chased after the gigantic profound being. The temperature below was indeed very high, but he did not need to use the profound wood diamond armor to protect it. Chen Xiang sank downwards as he used the power of the spatial laws to travel through space and quickly caught up to the gigantic profound being. What surprised him was that the profound being was already this deep, and there were no signs of it melting. The people on the floating island all frowned as they looked at the volcano that was gradually calming down. It seems to have sunk very deep. If there's a treasure, how will we be able to discover it? Is it possible that the treasure will sink so deep into the ground? An elder of the sacred fire school said. The immortal monarch said, If it melts and treasures appear, I can feel it. When the time comes, I will have a secret technique to retrieve it, so there is no need to worry. The crater was connected to the core of the earth, and this was also the entrance to the core of the earth. Last time when Chen Xiang released the super old fire beast, he obtained a earth core crystal, and it had already fused into his body. The gigantic profound being had already entered the earth's core from the mouth of the volcano, but it had still not melted. I wonder where it will sink to before it melts. If it goes too deep, I'll have to take out the fire dragon sword. The last time Chen Xiang entered the earth's core, he was able to rely on that fire dragon sword to dodge the fire essence in the earth's core. The immortal monarch at the top frowned. Looks like I've already entered the core. I never thought that it would still not melt even in that kind of place, and this also proves that this volcano can lead to the core of the earth. But if we continue to sink down, I will have no way of controlling it. maybe this piece of profound being will sink down to the depths of the core. The core was something that would cause people to feel fear, especially the famous Earth's core fire realm. The people here weren't strangers, the flames there were even more terrifying now, and they could only wander around outside. After 2 hours, the gigantic profound being had already sunk deeper and deeper into the ground, and there were no signs of the profound being melting. Chen Xiang also felt a burning sensation on his body. He secretly activated profound Wu physical exercise to temper his body, and he was currently on top of the sinking profound being, waiting for the profound being to melt. Could it be that even the Earth's core is unable to melt this piece of profound being? Isn't this way too powerful? Chen Xiang said in shock. It looks like it's that thing without a doubt. If it can melt, then you will be able to see what exactly it is. Bai Yuyu was even more sure of his own thoughts. What is it? Can it be eaten? Long Shui asked. No. Can that be used for fighting? Long Shui asked again. I don't know, my understanding of that thing was just a rumor. When I was in the heavenly demon realm, I read about it in the ancient books of my Bai family. At that time, I cultivated the power of frost and went through a large amount of things related to the powerful icy cold power. What exactly is that thing? Sister Yu, don't keep us in suspense. Chen Xiang's heart itched. He wished that he could immediately break open the profound being. Bai Yuyu was silent again. After a while, she said, Wait, if you see it with your own eyes, you will understand it better. After another 4 hours, Chen Xiang took out the fire dragon sword, and felt that it was about to sink to the bottom. Just when he thought that the profound being would not melt, he suddenly felt the gigantic profound being trembling. Finally there was a response. Chen Xiang was wild with joy, and immediately became spirited. As for the people above, they had long since left. Only the immortal monarch was still there, frowning as he looked at the fiery red liquid below. It actually didn't melt but cracked. Chen Xiang felt that this was extremely strange. Many cracks appeared on the gigantic profound being, and then it suddenly exploded, turning into a small piece of ice and disappeared into the fire droplets. This method of breaking through was actually the same as the other profound being. Chen Xiang saw something inside the profound being. It was actually a gigantic tablet. Very quickly, Chen Xiang came to his senses. It was not that he had seen this giant tablet before, but he felt that the aura of this giant tablet was very familiar, and this familiarity came from his killing God heart. The killing God heart contained a very powerful soul, and at this moment, Chen Xiang felt that the soul was affecting him, which was why he felt that this giant monument was so familiar. It really is this thing. Bai Yuyu had already expected this, but he was still shocked. Quickly put it away. Chen Xiang did not immediately take action, but asked seriously, What exactly is this thing? The soul inside the killing God heart was extremely terrifying, even the white tiger had said that, and this stone tablet seemed to be related to that soul. Chen Xiang was worried that an accident might happen if he placed the stone tablet inside the Yuyao ring. I don't know why, but this piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument did not appear in the sky of ice, but had gone missing. Furthermore, the other heaven-suppressed immortal monument also did not appear, so we can now be sure that one of them appeared in Dtian, causing the profound cold ancient realm to be frozen. Chen Xiang quickly put away the heaven-suppressed immortal monument and was secretly shocked in his heart. He said, Could it be that the heaven-suppressed immortal monument no longer has the power to suppress the profound cold ancient realm? Bai Yuyu nodded his head. Perhaps that place was born along with Dtian. The origins of this heaven-suppressed immortal monument is unknown, but its God power is endless, and this piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument could release a very strong icy cold power, so maybe profound cold ancient realm was created by this piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument. Could it be that someone intentionally threw the heaven-suppressed immortal monument at profound cold ancient realm? How did those strange profound being form? I don't believe that those shaped profound being were formed by nature. Chen Xiang was very suspicious about this, and obviously the treasure inside the profound being was not a coincidence. The profound cold ancient realm was a very dangerous place, and it concerned whether or not Di Tian could be stable in the future. Before Chen Xiang left Di Tian, it would be best if he could understand the situation clearly. Strange, why is it gone? What's inside? I feel that it's quite big, but just as I was about to get it, it suddenly disappeared. The immortal monarch frowned, puzzled. Deep within the earth, Chen Xiang was also unable to examine that piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument carefully. Deep within the earth, Chen Xiang was also unable to examine that piece of heaven-suppressed immortal monument carefully. That immortal monarch seemed to be able to sense the movement of that profound being up there. However, he did not discover you. Long Shui could sense that the immortal monarch above was paying close attention to something. That's good. I can quickly leave this place to carry out my mission. Chen Xiang's face revealed a smile. His so-called mission was to assassinate the person on the list. He recognized the few people on the list, so of course he wouldn't kill them. Chen Xiang came out from the crater of the volcano and then quietly left, not letting the immortal monarch discover him. He left the sacred fire mountain far away and turned into an ordinary middle-aged man, entering Holy Yen City. He then teleported from Holy Yen City to another city. The dragon-subduing city was still the same as before. It was said that he had been attacked by demons many times, but the great city barrier formation set up by the Iron Lion army was not weak, and with the power provided by the dragon veins, the dragon-subduing city was indestructible. Li Baojun was not in the dragon-subduing city. He had snuck back in. He did not want others to know that he had come out from the seal, so he had to keep a low profile. Unable to find Li Baojun in the dragon-subduing city, he entered the evil dragon graveyard. The dragon-subduing school had already recruited many outstanding disciples, and these disciples had all been filtered and recognized by many. Furthermore, there was Lan Lan and Yenran who was in charge of investigating these backgrounds, preventing people from sneaking into the dragon-subduing school. On the other hand, the people who trained these disciples were some old geezers from the Earth's core race and Duan Chong. Yun Xiaodao and the others were all in charge of a group of disciples, and were the bosses of many of the dragon-subduing school disciples. In order to increase their combat experience, they often fought. As for the pills, there was no need to mention the fact that the dragon-subduing school was a powerful alchemist power, so in a short period of time, the dragon-subduing school was able to produce a large number of outstanding disciples, but many of the forces did not know about it. Li Baojun was at the dragon-subduing school headquarters in the evil dragon graveyard. The moment he finished concocting pills, he saw Chen Xiang sitting in his small hall. "Ha! I knew you'd get out in time." Seeing that Chen Xiang's complexion was good, Li Baojun laughed and said. He was relieved when Chen Xiang came back, but he had been worried since, and furthermore, the Chen martial continent would be attacked soon. If not for Chen Xiang's help, he was afraid that it would be a headache to solve some problems. "That broken seal won't be able to trap me." Chen Xiang chuckled. "Elderly, how many disciples do we have now?" "There are over 30,000, and all of them were recruited here and there by those brats. Only after they have received the approval of us old fellows are they allowed to enter the evil dragon graveyard." Li Baojun said. "Don't worry, I have already divided the dragon-subduing school into a few regions. Disciples are not allowed to enter some important places, so there is no need to worry about them messing around." "Yes." Chen Xiang nodded. He had complete trust in Li Baojun's attitude towards him. "Not many people knew that you came back, right? How come there isn't any news about Fire Divine Palace?" Li Baojun asked. Even until now, Fire Divine Palace still had not discovered Chen Xiang coming out of that seal. "We can't let too many people know about this." Hearing Chen Xiang's words, Li Baojun immediately understood Chen Xiang's intentions, but he was still a little confused. Leader, if you are letting the Fire Divine Palace attack the Chen Martial Continent, then we have at least one person who can force the Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace to do this. That person is an immortal king, and our great elder has gone to who knows where. You don't have to worry about that. The Hall Master will be guarding Profound Ice City, and as long as I'm not exposed, the Hall Master will not come out. But after this, we just need to ambush and capture all of those people who are attacking the Chen Martial Continent. Chen Xiang had another idea. 1. Tai Now, the golden face ghost killer of the ghost killing school. He smiled and said, I have already infiltrated into the inner circle of their alliance. At that time, I will tell you about their latest battle plan. So sinister. Li Baojun also laughed. I am currently a golden face ghost killer of the ghost killing school. They gave me a list of sins and told me to kill these people. Chen Xiang took out the name list and handed it over to Li Baojun. Li Baojun was startled. He never thought that Chen Xiang would actually impersonate the golden face ghost killer, and upon seeing the name list, he frowned. They are all important figures. If the powers in Chen Martial Continent do not have these people, and they happen to attack here, the consequences will be unimaginable. Li Baojun frowned. That's right, but if there are these people here, they would use a lot of strength to attack us. If more than half of the people on the list die, they will be the ones to make a surprise attack, and the people who come will probably be elites, so there will definitely be a lot of them. Chen Xiang said. When the time comes, we'll ambush them there and give them a surprise. Li Baojun finally understood what Chen Xiang wanted to do. Chen Xiang laughed. I will make a trip to Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and Dan Fragrance Pure Land. Elderly, arrange some men for me and I will be ready to attack at any time. Got it. I'll make the arrangements. Should you tell those brats about your return first? Li Baojun asked. Chen Xiang thought for a moment, then said, I will not tell Dao Ren and the others for now. After greeting Li Baojun, Chen Xiang left the evil dragon graveyard and let Li Baojun report his plan to Duan Chong. Those who were assassinated by the ghost killing school were the higher-ups of the forces in the Fire Divine Palace, and they were all important figures who guaranteed the smooth operation of a force. Once the assassination was successful, this force would be in great turmoil for a short period of time, and it would be the best time to take them down. Chen Xiang came to Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, and quietly went to look for Xue Xianxian. Xue Xianxian and Ling Yulan were currently very busy. Not only did they have to cultivate and raise their strength, they also had to instruct them to set up huge formations, and sometimes they also had to refine some powerful treasures for their disciples. Chen Xiang also stayed in their room at night, waiting for them to return. My brother will be sealed for 10 years soon. At that time, he said from the inside that after 10 years, the Fire Divine Palace would attack the Chen Martial Continent. If it really comes to that, I wonder if my brother will be able to come back. Lung Yulan sat in the hall, drinking the flower tea that was used to remove fatigue. Regardless of whether he can come back or not, we have to be well prepared. If we can't protect the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country well, how are we going to face Master when we go to the Heaven Realm in the future? Xue Xianxian's face was gloomy. Of course she hoped that Chen Xiang would return, but she had to prepare for the worst. Chen Xiang walked out from the room and said while grinning, This kind of big event, how can you leave me alone? Hearing Chen Xiang's voice, Xue Xianxian and Ling Yulan's delicate bodies trembled. After that they looked towards the direction of the voice in pleasant surprise. It was indeed Chen Xiang. Seeing Chen Xiang suddenly appear, Ling Yulan flew over and hugged Chen Xiang tightly. Seeing Chen Xiang suddenly appear, Ling Yulan flew over and hugged Chen Xiang tightly. Brother, I knew you could break that B-A-S-T-A-R-D seal, haha. Ling Yulan laughed as he patted Chen Xiang's back. Shui Xianxian let out a small sigh of relief. All these years, they had been extremely nervous, because if the Fire Divine Palace attacked the Chen Martial Continent, it would not be easy to defend against. It had to be known that the Fire Divine Palace had allied many forces, and there were even people from the demon and devil realms. Seeing that Chen Xiang had returned, Shui Xianxian, who had been tensed up for many days, finally relaxed. This was because in her heart, Chen Xiang could solve all the dangers. Chen Xiang lightly embraced Shui Xianxian and kissed her forehead. Then he smiled and said, "Xianxian, I feel like you and elder sister Menger are becoming more and more similar. Little scoundrel, you think of elder sister Menger all day." Shui Xianxian scoffed. "Bro, you came out of that D.A.M. and seal, why is there no news at all?" Leng Yulan was very excited at this moment, because he was sure that he would be able to charge in together with Chen Xiang during the great battle. Shui Xianxian quickly understood the reason and smiled at Leng Yulan. "Yulan, I'm afraid that even Fire Divine Palace doesn't know about my husband coming out. The palace lord should still be there, standing guard at death's door." Leng Yulan also understood at this moment and immediately nodded. "So that's how it is, then that means, when the time comes, Big Bro will secretly make his move." Chen Xiang said, "Not only that, we still have some plans and we need you to cooperate. This will severely injure the Fire Divine Palace and the other forces." Shui Xianxian said, "What plan?" Chen Xiang took out the list of names, then told the two girls about him impersonating the golden-faced ghost killer and sneaking into the alliance. "When the time comes, I will need your cooperation. What you need to do is let the outside world, and even the disciples of Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and Icy Wind Valley know that all of the important people on the list who are related to you are dead." Shui Xianxian immediately understood. They want us to fake our deaths, and let the Fire Divine Palace's alliance mistake us for a mess. When they attack, we can gather our forces to ambush them and eliminate them. Exactly, their alliance will definitely gather a large portion of their elites to attack you, and when the time comes, we will also send out all our strength to kill this group of people, and my dragon subduing school will have made the arrangements. Leng Yulan said, "When the time comes for us to come back from the dead and join the battle, wouldn't that mean that you won't be able to continue living in that alliance?" Chen Xiang laughed. "You can partic. 1p8 in the battle, but don't let others find out." Shui Xianxian said, "If we fake our deaths at the same time, we can give the successors that we nurture a chance for them to gain experience. You guys have already groomed the successor. The man is still the woman." Shui Xianxian rolled her eyes at him. "Little scoundrel, are you that concerned about this? As long as the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and its people pretended to be dead, half of the people on the list would be sent out." Chen Xiang felt that he could go back and submit his mission now. "In that case, you'd better make the arrangements tonight and send out the news of your deaths tomorrow morning. The time of death has to be better. We cannot let Icy Wind Valley and Divine Weapons Heavenly Country die together. I will go find Xianxian and have her bring some people over. I will find a few elders to discuss it. If nothing goes wrong, you will know the news of my death in the morning." Shui Xianxian laughed mischievously. "Then what about me? When should I die?" Leng Yulan asked with a smile. "You are together. Time can be the same." Chen Xiang caressed her white hair and laughed. "When the time comes, I'll fake my death. Don't jump out or else my plan will be ruined." Leng Yulan pouted. "Don't think so badly of me, I've played with this kind of scheme before." After discussing with Shui Xianxian and Leng Yulan, Chen Xiang anxiously headed towards Dan Fragrance Pure Land. He had used a transformation technique to quietly go in. He did not want anyone else to see him looking for people. Wu Qianqian was just as busy as the two women in the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country. She wanted to refine pills, cultivate and nurture the next leader. Deep into the night, Wu Qianqian busied herself for the entire day, soaking in the hot spring inside the cave, using the spirit spring water to dispel fatigue, strengthening her body and noise. Plussing the veins in her body. Just as she was bathing in the water comfortably, she heard a cough, which startled her, causing her to release a ball of white light aura, wrapping her body with spirit spring water, and taking out a treasured sword. Qian, it's me. Chen Xiang said from outside the stone room. Chen Xiang. Wu Qian was shocked. He anxiously kept his sword and donned on his clothes, then walked out of the stone room with the spirit spring. The cave that Wu Qian resided in was protected extremely well by the array. Even if someone used a jade plate to enter, she would immediately know. At this critical moment, Wu Qian was very happy to be able to come out from the seal, but she looked at Chen Xiang strangely. Wu Qian's hair was drenched, her body was dressed in a simple robe, she looked extremely charming and seductive. Chen Xiang saw Wu Qian looking at him that way, and immediately explained, "I didn't peek." Wu Qian laughed. "I didn't say you were spying on me." After that, Wu Qian leaned on Chen Xiang's chest, gently hugging Chen Xiang's tiger waist, and said gently, "It's good that you're back, all these years you've been worried to death about me." Chen Xiang kissed his lips and said, "I came out from that seal, Fire Divine Palace does not know about it." Wu Qian sensed that Chen Xiang had something important to tell her, so he nodded. She, who was familiar with Chen Xiang, could also think of something. Chen Xiang told her the plan. After hearing it, Wu Qian asked, "What do I need to do when the time comes? If news of Yulan and Xianxian's death spreads, you will secretly issue an order to the Dan Fragrance Pure Land to support them. You said that to protect them from being attacked, but for specific actions, I will inform you when the time comes." Chen Xiang gave some of Wu Qian's ingredients, all of them were of a higher rank, allowing her to learn how to refine higher-ranked pills. After leaving the Dan Fragrance Pure Land, Chen Xiang headed towards the sacred Yen city, waiting for the news to spread out. The Chen martial continent had always been attacked by many forces, especially in these few years, it had been very ordinary. It was because the legend said that it would be the center of the new imperial heaven world, and that there would be a second dragon vein that would lead to this disaster. At dawn, the news spread to sacred Yen city. Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and some important elders in Divine Weapons Heavenly Country all died due to poison. At this time, the entire Divine Weapons Heavenly Country was in chaos. Everyone knew the reason for being A.S.S.A.S.cynated. As long as they could take down Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, they would be able to enter the center of the Chen martial continent. From the looks of the death, some people could already guess that it was Ghost Killing School who did it, because Ghost Killing School was an expert in using poison. Everyone knew the reason for being A.S.S.A.S.cynated. As long as they could take down Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, they would be able to enter the center of the Chen martial continent. From the looks of the death, some people could already guess that it was Ghost Killing School who did it, because Ghost Killing School was an expert in using poison. Chen Xiang immediately headed towards the sacred Fire Mountain. Only half of the people on the list of names that the Fire Divine Palace had given him had been A.S.S.A.S.cynated, but he felt that it was enough for the Fire Divine Palace to gather their men and attack. Xue Xianxian is Chen Xiang's wife and Ling Yulan is Chen Xiang's recognized sister. If they die, how are we supposed to threaten Chen Xiang in the future? This group of people, they actually messed up my plans. When they were doing this, they didn't notify me. When the Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace heard this news, he was extremely furious. Back then, Chen Xiang had also thought of this problem, so he guessed that there was a conflict within the Fire Divine Palace, that Hall Master wanted to threaten him, and there were some people who wanted to attack the Chen martial continent in a hurry. This made guess that there might be a immortal king hidden in the Fire Divine Palace's headquarters. If not, the immortal monarch would not have dared to pause that name list to him. Palace Lord, it seems like that fellow can't wait. What do we do now? Do we continue to guard this place? An old man asked the hall master of the Fire Divine Palace. Humph, of course we have to guard this place. If Chun Xiang comes out and finds out about this, I dare say that he will definitely go on a killing spree. This group of idiots, how could they have never thought about the importance of these two women? The Fire Divine Palace's palace master was extremely furious. The powerhouses were all shocked. The new leader of the Super Martial School and a few clan elders had also received the message from the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country to ask for reinforcements. They wanted them to be prepared as the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country would become the biggest breach in their attack on the Chun Martial Continent at that time. The other powers of the Chun Martial Continent were also the same, and the Dragon Subduing School had sent out a large number of elite. On the other hand, people like Yun Xiaodao, who had good relations with Chun Xiang, who were unaware, were extremely furious. However, they were calmed down by Duan Chong and Li Baojun, and told them to calm down and prepare to fight. All of their reactions were as Chun Xiang had expected. He was already disguised as the Golden Face Ghost Killer and was heading towards the Sacred Fire School. He had just left Holy Yen City when he sensed someone following him. He pretended that he didn't know and continued to move forward. When they were far away from Holy Yen City and entered a forest, the people following him suddenly increased their speed and rushed towards him. This is Ghost Killing School, Red Face Ghost Killer. Chun Xiang was shocked. Through his Heaven Tour method, he saw that the person chasing after him was wearing a black robe and a red mask. This was the legendary Red Face Ghost Killer. Chun Xiang did not increase his speed to get rid of them, because they were his own people, but he felt that something was amiss. If not, the Red Face Ghost Killer would not have chased after him. In the mysterious Red Face Ghost Killer, no one had told him his true appearance, nor did anyone know how long he had survived. No one knew of his strength, no one had heard his voice, and although he rarely showed his face, he was able to control the entire Ghost Killing School. Red Face Ghost Killer appeared in front of Chun Xiang. The aura from his body made Chun Xiang feel nervous. The Red Face Ghost Killer was very strong. It made him feel that it was difficult to deal with them. You killed all those people. Red Face Ghost Killer actually spoke. Her voice was extremely low and gloomy. It was the voice of an old lady. This Red Face Ghost Killer was actually a woman. Yes. Chun Xiang replied coldly. He was worried that he would be seen through, so he was already prepared to fight. I don't think you have the ability to do so. Red Face Ghost Killer's voice suddenly became colder. But I did it. Chun Xiang never thought that the Red Face Ghost Killer would suspect something because of this. He only hoped that the Red Face Ghost Killer did not come into contact with the people from the Fire Divine Palace, or else his plan would be in vain. This should have been done by me together with you. You should know how you did it if you couldn't kill those people. Chun Xiang had indeed thought about this before, because the people on that list were indeed difficult to kill. Back then, the reason the Fire Divine Palace gave him this list of names was probably because of this Ghost Killing School. Chun Xiang obviously could not tell the leader of the Ghost Killing School, so he made a bet that the Ghost Killer would not secretly pursue this matter. However, the Red Face Ghost Killer was extremely cautious, and had chased after him. You shouldn't have doubted my strength, Chun Xiang said coldly. Oh, by doing this, could it be that you think you have more power than me? You want to use this matter to prove that you are qualified to be the Ghost Killing King? Red Face Ghost Killer was furious. Chun Xiang now understood and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Originally, Red Face Ghost Killer was worried that he would usurp the position of, but there was indeed such a cruel rule of power in Ghost Killing School. And there was only one Red Face Ghost Killer on top of the Golden Face Ghost Killer, which was also known as the Ghost Killing King, so killing them wouldn't be easy. That's right, I've been missing your mask for a long time. Chun Xiang felt the other party's killing intent and quickly threw out a punch, hitting Red Face Ghost Killer on the shoulder. The Red Face Ghost Killer had prepared for this long ago, but she was still shocked by the thunder-like attack. It was just as she said previously, this golden-face ghost killer should not have such strength. There are no fluctuations of the innate chi. Could it be the strength of a physical body? Red-face ghost killer was unable to dodge it. The moment the fist landed on his shoulder, he immediately guessed this power in his mind. No, this is... Red-face ghost killer suddenly felt that after his left shoulder was hit, it suddenly became lighter and softer. Upon closer inspection, all the bones in his left arm and left shoulder had disappeared. The bone-melting magic palm could directly decompose bones. It was one of the supreme devil arts of the devil realm. The other party actually knew this devil art. This caused Red-Face Ghost Killer to be incomparably shocked, and now she felt that the other party had the strength to kill an important figure of the divine weapon's heavenly country. I want your mask. Chun Xiang's second punch urgently arrived, landing on Red-Face Ghost Killer's other shoulder. This Red-Face Ghost Killer's strength was around the late period of human immortal, and according to Long Xue's judgment, he should be at the peak of the worldly immortal stage, just a step away from becoming a immortal monarch. On the other hand, with the power of the body of heavenly sage and the innate chi, it would not be difficult for Chun Xiang to turn the opponent's weak bones into ashes by using the bone-melting magic palm. Wishful thinking. Don't think that just because you understand the bone-melting magic palm, you can kill me. A pink mist suddenly appeared from Red-Face Ghost Killer's body. It was unexpectedly a type of extremely poisonous mist. Like an evil spirit, it extended its claws and bared its fangs and enveloped Chun Xiang. Ghost Killing School was an expert in the use of poison. Everyone knew that it was normal for there to be such a powerful poison. After Chun Xiang was enveloped by the pink mist, he saw countless steel spikes flying towards him. If it was anyone else, their body would have countless of holes in an instant, and they were all highly toxic. No one knew about her background. Therefore, she believed that in the battle, with her unfathomable strength, she would have the upper hand, especially those powerful poisons, which she had spent a large amount of money to collect. No one knew about her background. Therefore, she believed that in the battle, with her unfathomable strength, she would have the upper hand, especially those powerful poisons, which she had spent a large amount of money to collect. However, she too did not know what kind of person she was facing. It seemed like she knew Golden-Face Ghost Killer very well, but in reality, that was not the case, but rather the sealed Chun Xiang. If one were to compare using poison, Chun Xiang could be the ancestor of this Red-Face Ghost Killer. When the steel needles pierced through his body, he had already moved aside, leaving only an illusion behind. What? It's an illusion. Red-Face Ghost Killer immediately saw through it and at the same time fiercely dodged the punch. You. Just who are you? This Red-Face Ghost Killer already knew. The Golden-Face Ghost Killer in front of her was not the person she was familiar with. Dead people don't need to know so much. Chun Xiang's eyes flashed, releasing a burst of red light. Countless red threads shot out from her eyes, congealing in immense power, and instantly pierced through the Red-Face Ghost Killer's body. Every single thread broke the bones and meridians in her body, and two thicker red rays of light penetrated her dantian and heart. Red-Face Ghost Killer also cultivated a demonic art, so he knew how strong the demon eye of permeability was. It was a type of terrifying energy ray that gathered all the strength in his body, causing it to be able to penetrate deeply into one's body, making it impossible to defend against, as it came out of an unexpected eye. As long as he saw the red light exploding in the other party's eyes, it meant that his own body had been penetrated. Chun Xiang rarely used his devil arts, but when he used them again and again, it caused his enemies to die in despair and fear. You can leave your mask to me. In the end, Chun Xiang struck the top of Red-Face Ghost Killer's head with his palm, using the soul-absorbing devil spell to try and plunder his memories. But this Red-Face Ghost Killer actually shattered her soul in that instant, not allowing Chun Xiang to succeed. She knew that it was the soul-absorbing devil spell, so after using it, her soul would definitely scatter. So she destroyed her own soul, and also did not let Chen Xiang obtain her memories. Some of your masks are enough. Chen Xiang took off the mask and took away the communication talismans. Without even looking at the red-faced ghost killer's face, he burned it to ashes. Chen Xiang changed into a red mask and continued heading towards Sacred Yen City. He would be using his ident 1. Tai as the red-faced ghost killer to head towards Sacred Fire School, and his position would be even higher at that time. Furthermore, he didn't need to fake the ident 1. Tai of the red-faced ghost killer. He could confess that he had obtained the red-faced ghost killer's ident 1. Tai himself. The Sacred Fire School had already gathered all the higher-ups of the various forces. Although none of them had come, they were all people who held authority in their own forces. At the same time, they were people that all the big shots of the various forces trusted them. Everyone was waiting for Ghost Killing School, although Ghost Killing School did not kill all of the people on the list, but to be able to kill more than half of the people made everyone very satisfied. Originally, they did not expect to be able to kill all of the people, because the people on the list were not ordinary people. To be able to kill a few in one night, he must have been famous for a long time. Everyone was waiting in the secret room, but the person who suddenly entered scared them. The person who came was actually a man wearing a red mask. Wasn't this the Ghost Killing King, the strongest one in the entire Ghost Killing School, the leader's leader? Although the leader of the Ghost Killing School was not the strongest, his ability to kill scared many big shots of the most of the people who were targeted by the red-faced ghost killer would not even be able to survive. The immortal monarch was startled for a moment, because it was his first time meeting this ghost-killing king. Previously, he had guessed that this ghost-killing king's strength should be at the peak of the late period of human immortal, so if his assassination skills were superb, killing an early-stage immortal monarch would not be impossible. This ghost-killing king, why have you come personally? The Fire Divine Palace asked. Can't I come? Hearing this familiar voice, everyone was stunned, because this voice was the mirrored ghost killer that they had met before. This guy actually had a red mask, and everyone immediately knew what was going on. This guy actually exterminated the ghost-killing king after assassinating the higher-ups of the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, and obtained this red mask. This kind of strength made everyone secretly admire him, and they were even more vigilant because this kind of guy was too dangerous. I had originally planned to go to Lotus Island on the second day. However, after the incident with Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, it would be difficult for Lotus Island to make a move on me. Chen Xiang revealed the reason why he was only half done. It's enough, as long as we get a few Divine Weapons Heavenly Countries, the entire Chen martial continent would be fine, we can just kill one each. The person from the devil race said. Chen Xiang said coldly. Let me first say this, my ghost-killing school has already lost a lot of people this time. When we attack, only I will partake. 1. P. 8. At that time I will secretly cooperate with you. As for your Fire Divine Palace, the strongest amongst us, you guys don't just randomly send some shrimp soldiers or crab generals. Everyone secretly despised the new ghost-killing king. He killed the old ghost-killing king with less people, but he was just saying that Fire Divine Palace was the strongest. He should have sent the strongest guy to pave the way for them. The immortal monarch said, of course, our Fire Divine Palace and our Sacred Fire School will mobilize our strongest forces to ensure that we can smoothly take down the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country. Then, we can defend the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country and finally launch an all-out attack to take down the other sects in the Chen martial continent. The Divine Weapons Heavenly Country was just a stronghold. As long as they could capture it successfully, the demon and devil realms would send a large amount of elites, and the forces of the human realm and the Fire Divine Palace alliance would be the same, as long as the Chun martial continent was missing a divine weapons heavenly country to provide them with powerful weapons and treasures. The Chun martial continent's overall strength would be weakened, and they would be easier to capture. The divine weapons heavenly country provided a large amount of weapons and treasures, allowing him to set up many powerful formations. His defensive power was extremely strong, so he was also seen as a breakthrough. Following that, everyone began to discuss the route and plan of the attack. They had already announced the number of people they would send and so on. They were all very important things, and they were all memorized by Chen Xiang in his mind. As long as he confirmed those plans, he would get Long Shui to think of a way to pass these important things to Li Baojun, Xue Xianxian and Wu Qianqian as soon as possible, so that they could prepare for an ambush. The Fire Divine Palace's side also needed to move quickly to prevent the divine weapons heavenly country from becoming more stable, so they too were in a hurry and did not consider too many details. The Fire Divine Palace and the other powers in the alliance were very confident in this operation. After the meeting, everyone was full of smiles, and the happiest person was Chen Xiang. This was because he was very confident in his own operation. The Fire Divine Palace and the other powers in the alliance were very confident in this operation. After the meeting, everyone was full of smiles, and the happiest person was Chen Xiang. This was because he was very confident in his own operation. We will begin our teleportation at night. I have already informed our people to construct the transmission array at a secret location far away from divine weapons heavenly country. Tonight we will complete our teleportation. The immortal monarch said, when the time comes it will be led by Leader Yang. Does anyone have any objections? Chen Xiang was not so worried now. If he were to go with the immortal monarch, it would be very troublesome at that time. Just holding on to the immortal monarch would consume a lot of energy. Everyone left and went to mobilize their own people. They began a busy teleportation to gather in a secret forest. Because the ghost killing school had given a lot of effort and signated a few important people, coupled with the fact that the people of the ghost killing school were not suitable to take part in this kind of operation, the ghost killing school did not need to send any disciples. Even the new ghost killing king did not need to go. Chen Xiang told them that he would go, but that he would conceal himself and make his move. When the time came, they would need to send out the most people. Even the Fire Divine Palace was the same, so the transmission array that was built here was very large. Chen Xiang used this transmission array to follow the first batch of people to the Chun martial continent. After arriving, Chen Xiang immediately used the communication jade symbol paper to contact Duan Chong. Elder Duan, how are your preparations? Chen Xiang was already hiding. As a ghost-killing king, no one could direct him. They are all waiting outside the borders of the Divine Weapon Kingdom. We have brought over 20,000 elites as well as powerful formation plates refined by the Iron Lion army. At that time, how many people will come to attack the Divine Weapons heavenly country? Duan Chong asked. In order to take over the Divine Weapons heavenly country in one breath, they have increased their power. When the time comes, there will be 1 million of them. So many. If I wasn't prepared and got attacked all of a sudden, I would have definitely been defeated. Duan Chong took a small breath. There are many of them, but they might not be very strong. Chen Xiang said. I think back to when the various powers in the Chun martial continent and the people that the dragon subduing school sent out were all elite disciples. It would definitely be very easy to deal with those evil demons. The disciples of our dragon subduing school have all grown up through cruel training. They will definitely be able to display a very strong strength in this battle. Duan Chong said with complete confidence. After that, Chen Xiang contacted Xue Xianxian. Xianxian, when the time comes, if you and Yulan want to make a move, you must hide well. If I know that you two are still alive, I might not be able to continue staying in this alliance. Chen Xiang was a little worried for the fiery Leng Yulan, worried that this violent dragon girl would not be able to hold it in. I know that. Tell me about their detailed attack plan. Xue Xianxian asked. Right now, they are transferring a large number of people to the Chun Martial Continent, and are hiding in an ancient forest. When it is about time, they will attack. Chen Xiang told her the route and told her to pass. It on to Wu Qianqian. Duan Chong pass. Said the message to the Super Martial School. They had long secretly discussed about the powers of Lotus Island. There were actually more than 500,000 evil demon, but their overall strength was extremely weak, and should be something to throw away their lives for. At the moment, this group of evil demon were extremely noisy. After going through a resolution from the crowd, they had to bring all the evil demon up for the kill first, specifically to drain the opponent's strength. Chen Xiang hid himself so that when he found out, he would feel that something was wrong. If these 500,000 evil demon were to be at the front line, the hidden elites would definitely be exposed and their plans would be affected. Therefore, Chen Xiang decided to make a move himself. At the same time, he also told Duan Chong and the others that these evil demon would rush to their deaths, telling them to be cautious and not to reveal too much of their strength. The sky was about to brighten, with hundreds of thousands of evil demons shouting all kinds of words. They were mighty like a wave as they rushed towards the borders of divine weapons' heavenly country. As long as this group of evil demons said through, all the flowers, plants and trees would be nibbled away, becoming wasteland. The people behind the evil demon were silently cursing the group of evil demon who were still unconscious, causing the mountain forest to be completely barren, making it impossible for them to hide behind it at all. This caused the millions of people to not have any form of concealment, and they quickly followed behind the group of evil demon. It's my turn to take action. Chen Xiang had already become a middle-aged man. Suddenly, he fell from the sky, and the moment his feet touched the ground began to shake violently. Are you guys invading the divine weapon's heavenly country? Chen Xiang said loudly. When the sound wave spread out, it stirred a wave of energy, causing the group of evil demon to retreat while shouting. The power of Fire Divine Palace was not surprised by the sudden appearance of one person. The death of an important person in Divine Weapon's heavenly country would cause them to expect that someone would attack, but they thought that there were no powerful people in Divine Weapon's heavenly country anymore, so they were not afraid. Just when Chen Xiang sensed that there were a few rankers flying over from behind the group of evil demon, he immediately roared and released a sharp and ear-piercing roar, causing everyone to be able to see the S.P.A.C. rippling like a ripple. It was the power of a sound wave, actually shaking the S.P.A.C. The huge sound wave's power rushed towards the group of evil demons. In an instant, it pierced through the hundreds of thousands of evil demons who were shouting in the sky like a hot knife through B.U.T. This is the sound kill magic power, everybody be careful. The expression of one of the experts from the demon realm changed drastically as he hastily let out a deafening roar. The sound kill magic power was a divine art of the sacred Dan realm. It was as famous as the heart-piercing demon eye, bone-melting magic palm, and soul-absorbing devil spell, a devil art that could pierce the ears like thunder in the demon realm. No matter if it was used for group attacks or individual attacks, it still possessed a terrifying power. Chen Xiang roared again and again. The terrifying killing intent set off sets of sound waves that contained endless killing intent, and after the group of evil demon were struck by the sound wave, their bodies started to crack, and then suddenly exploded. Several 100,000 evil demons, in this short period of time, had already exploded into a cloud of blood mist, causing the place to become a place of death which was filled with dense and terrifying blood mist. However, Chen Xiang's sound wave did not weaken in the slightest, as he crazily roared. The people from the Fire Divine Palace were furious, Especially the big shots of the demon realm, they did not expect such a guy to suddenly appear. With just a few roars, his evil demon army was annihilated, leaving not even his corpse behind. Chen Xiang had only roared for a short period of time before that group of evil demons all turned into blood mist. Those people who knew how to circulate their energy and protect their bodies, coupled with the fact that Chen Xiang's sound kill magic power was used against a large area of enemies, did not let the Alliance's army die. As the commander of this attack, Yang Jiotao suddenly felt a lot of pressure, because the progress was not as smooth as they had imagined. In order for the army to continue, he had sent a few powerful elders of the Sacred Fire School to deal with Chen Xiang. As the commander of this attack, Yang Jiotao suddenly felt a lot of pressure, because the progress was not as smooth as they had imagined. In order for the army to continue, he had sent a few powerful elders of the Sacred Fire School to deal with Chen Xiang. Suddenly, a few clan elders from the Sacred Fire School surrounded them. Their strengths were not weak. Chen Xiang had seen them at the Sacred Fire School before, but he never thought that these old fellows would have such strong powers, and that the things in their hands were all powerful people, and that these swords were all immortal swords. At this time, Chen Xiang could not use the Green Dragon Demon-Slain Broadsword and the Hammer of God, because the Ice Emperor was exterminated by the person holding the Black Hammer. If he used it now, and the Fire Divine Palace knew, the Hall Master would definitely come over immediately. An eagle's cry came from far away, and a Qilin with eagle wings flew over. It turned out to be a Kailan Thunder Eagle. The ones in the lead were all familiar with Chen Xiang. Yun Xiaodao, Zhu Rong, XV Weilong and the others, as they were all very strong at the moment, and the elite auras they led were also very valiant. Rus. Hi plusing straight into the million-strong army. Duan Chong and Li Baojun had also appeared. They were mainly forcing those old fellows with strong powers to appear, so that the youngsters wouldn't have to face those old BASTARDS. The sudden appearance of these 20 to 30,000 men was a brutal attack. Killing was like cutting GRAS in this army of 1 million men. A large number of them fell in an instant. "This is the Dragon Subduing School's man," an old man exclaimed. "Why are they here? Didn't they say that Dragon Subduing School is already on the verge of death? How are they still so powerful?" "UBASTARDS, we have been guarding here for several years just to wait for you stupid pigs." Li Baojun sneered. Holding his Kailan fan, he started to fight with the few elders. Dragon Subduing School led the way, and after they parted 1. Aided in the battle, the people of Super Martial School, Lotus Island and Dan Fragrance Pure Land also rushed in. The army of divine weapons Heavenly Country suddenly appeared behind the million-strong army, took out their fine weapons, and rushed towards the invaders. The reason the alliance of the Fire Divine Palace acted so quickly was to prevent such a thing from happening. With the high-ranking members of the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country being assassinated, as long as anyone with a brain could guess that it was them, they would definitely prevent them from invading anymore. But now that they saw a large group of people here, they knew that after the incident with the Divine Weapons Heavenly Country, the powers of the Chen Martial Continent had all gathered here, waiting for them to come. Although they had expected this to happen, they hadn't expected it to happen so quickly. "Just who are you? You know the sound kill magic power. I didn't think that the Chen Martial Continent would collude with the demon world." An old man shouted to Chen Xiang. It was clear that he wanted the sound kill magic power. Chen Xiang, who was surrounded by the few elderly men, said angrily, "What's wrong with that? Didn't you guys collude with the demon world? What's more, the people in the demon world are not always unforgivable, and not everyone in the human realm is good either. For example, you old BASTARDS. Demon realm caused such a big death or injury to the human realm. Just sit here and watch and do nothing. Instead you guys are attacking divine weapons, heavenly country. Chen Xiang was not afraid of all these old fellows. His words had angered all the old men, causing them to not care about morality. They all joined hands to attack Chen Xiang, all of them releasing extremely powerful attacks, fists, kicks, blades, all at the same time. The dense innate qi spewed out brilliant rays of light that shot towards Chen Xiang. Hearing the series of thunderclaps, many of the experts were shocked. This was because it was the power of the 9th floor of the devil subduing method. Although the simple learning version of the devil subduing method allowed many people to learn the devil subduing method, it was still very difficult to learn the 9th floor. There weren't many people who could learn the 9 levels, and one of the people that people were most familiar with was Devil Subduing College's Prink. 1 P.L. Zhuozhinshuan. Of course Zhuozhinshuan would come. He also didn't know whether Xue Xianxian and Ling Yulan were faking their deaths, so when he heard the news, he was extremely furious. Adding to that, he had already known that the Fire Divine Palace would fight with the Chen Martial Continent sooner or later. Zhuozhinshuan, your devil-subduing college has always been neutral, an old man said angrily. Out of the few elders that surrounded Chen Xiang, only 2 remained. The rest were all killed by Zhuozhinshuan. Our devil-subduing college has always relied on killing demons and devils as the foundation. If you join hands with the devils, we will treat you as demons and treat you as nothing more than demons. The students you sent to the devil-subduing college to learn the art of defeating devils are all very clear on this point. When you colluded with the demons to deal with the humans, you should have this kind of awareness. Zhuozhinshuan's old face was extremely gloomy, bringing with him endless slavery. A fist had already been thrown out. The berserk devil-subduing method smashed the 2 old men into pieces. Elder Zhuo, I am Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang sent a sound transmission to Zhuozhinshuan. He knew the position of the devil-subduing college, which was why he did not go and find Zhuozhinshuan. You. Zhuozhinshuan nodded, and he seemed to have suddenly understood something. Your wife and recognized sister. Chen Xiang laughed, then looked down at the chaos below. Xue Xianxian and Ling Yulan had already disguised themselves and snuck in, specifically killing the stronger disciples. Everything is fine. Chen Xiang replied. That's good. Young people, do you look down on old bones like me? You don't call me for this sort of thing. Zhuozhinshuan reprimanded. That's because of the position of the devil-subduing college. Chen Xiang did not want the devil-subduing college to be viewed with hostility by the Fire Divine Palace because of this matter. He was well aware of the Fire Divine Palace's strength, and Zhuozhinshuan was only strong here. Don't worry, I've already said it before, these fellows colluding with demons to deal with humans is the enemy of my devil-subduing college. Since they are here, I will do my best to help you guys. When Zhuozhinshuan saw that Li Baojun was being attacked by more than 10 Devil Realms demon immortals, he immediately rushed forward and used his powerful demon fighter to join the battle. It's all because of you, Bastard. If not for your words, we would have already snuck into the divine weapon's heavenly country. A golden light flashed and arrived. Chen Xiang anxiously avoided the cold killing intent of the golden blade, and the person who attacked him was Sacred Fire School's Yang Jiotao. This Yang Jiotao had the strength of late period of human immortal, so his furious attack was rather powerful. The impact caused the air to vibrate, and after SLA's HI+ing through the air, the force struck the ground, creating a huge crack. You will never succeed. Chen Xiang immediately welcomed the incoming fist with his own, striking towards the golden blade that was filled with berserk power. Seeing that the other party had used his fist to receive the blade and was even striking towards the edge of the blade, Yang Jiotao was shocked. He thought that he would slash at Chen Xiang's fist, but who knew that his golden blade would actually strike at Chen Xiang's fist, as though it had hit a hard object. Floating in the air, Yang Jiotao was forced back several tens of meters by Chen Xiang's punch. He was shocked because he did not feel any of the innate cheese power that Chen Xiang had released just now, and he did not know what kind of power his opponent was using to actually be so strong. Floating in the air, Yang Jiutao was forced back several tens of meters by Chen Xiang's punch. He was shocked because he did not feel any of the innate cheese power that Chen Xiang had released just now, and he did not know what kind of power his opponent was using to actually be so strong. My blade is a middle-grade immortal equipment, but it actually can't leave any wounds on a meat fist. Yang Jiutao had already felt that the situation was tricky, because not only was the opponent someone who only knew how to use sound kill magic power, he was also equipped with an unfathomable amount of power. "Come and help me," Yang Jiutao anxiously transmitted to the few elders. It was impossible for him to escape. He could only ask the other elders for help. There were many old fellows who came from the Alliance, and most of them were very strong. Fortunately, the rankers from the Chun Martial Continent were all of good quality. A few hot energies surged over from all directions, and in the blink of an eye, they struck Chen Xiang's body. Violent explosion of flames rumbled like 10,000 thunderclaps. Yang Jiutao and the few elders all used Sacred Fire School's Flaming Thunder Fist to attack Chen Xiang from afar. They did not believe that this kind of berserk attack was useless. A bunch of idiots. Chen Xiang suddenly appeared behind an elder of Sacred Fire School. When he finished speaking, his hand blade had already fiercely slashed at the old man's neck. The blade in his hand was covered with a strong qi, causing his hand to look like an unstoppable sharp blade, cutting the old man's neck off at an angle as though he was cutting tofu. He was obviously killed by the extremely strong fiery thunder fist, but he actually ran out without making a sound. This made them think that this person had come out through SPAC, which was why they didn't discover him. If he wanted to control SPAC steadily and undergo spatial travel, he could only do so by relying on the power of the Great Formation. If it was a person who wanted to do so, then it would require a lot of strength, which was difficult even for a mortal monarch. The battle below was in a state of chaos. Less than half of the 1,000,000 people that the Alliance had brought with them had been killed, and their blood had already turned into rivers. "You are all too ambitious. This is the reason why you all died so quickly." Chen Xiang's cold voice came out, his fist suddenly appearing in front of an old man. Bang! With a loud sound, Chen Xiang's violent power caused the elder's body to explode and die. These early-stage worldly immortals, in front of his body of heavenly sage, could not even take a single blow. The body of heavenly sage was as strong as an immortal weapon and was an extremely powerful human-shaped weapon. Even if Chen Xiang did not use his divine weapon, he would still possess extremely savage strength. A purple hill suddenly appeared in Yang Jiutao's palm. He threw the purple hill into the air, and saw that purple hill suddenly turn into a purple mountain, releasing a terrifying pressure that shocked everyone. Purple Profound Holy Mountain, isn't this the Sacred Fire School's ultimate treasure? It's said that it's a holy weapon. I wonder if that's true or not. An old man said in surprise. He was an elder of one of the powers in the Alliance. When the purple-colored gigantic mountain pressed down, it even released a wave of energy that wrapped around Chen Xiang, and after trapping him, it fiercely pressed down. Take out the heaven-suppressed immortal monument, or else you will definitely be suppressed. I never thought that the Fire Divine Palace would actually be handed over to this leader who is so powerful. Bai Yu suddenly shouted. Chen Xiang immediately released his heaven-suppressed immortal monument. The heaven-suppressed immortal monument was blank, it did not have a single word on it, and it looked extremely ancient, but the stone tablet was extremely huge, giving off a strong feeling. It was just that this kind of huge stone tablet could actually withstand the force that the purple mountain pressed down, and was able to support the purple profound holy mountain. Although the heaven-suppressed immortal monument was also very big, the purple profound holy mountain was even bigger. pour more power into the heaven-suppressed immortal monument. Bai Yu shouted, "This will require Shui Yi's power." At this time, Yang Jiutao had already controlled the purple profound holy mountain to float in the air, and was prepared to suppress Chen Xiang one more time, but the other three elders were still using their flaming thunder fist to attack Chen Xiang from afar. What surprised them was that the power of their fists had indeed exploded on Chen Xiang's body. When their fists landed on Chen Xiang's body, they felt as if they were being blown by the wind. "I'm ready," Long Shui said, and immediately, Chen Xiang released the innate qi from his body, and together with Long Shui's dragon power, he poured it into the heaven-suppressed immortal monument. It should be that way. Bai Yu was not sure either, but she was relieved after that, because the heaven-suppressed immortal monument suddenly released a wave of extremely strong icy cold power, and a white energy pillar appeared from the top of the heaven-suppressed immortal monument, shooting towards the bottom of the purple profound holy mountain which was floating in the air. At this moment, many experts were paying close attention to this area. This was because the cold qi was too astonies. H.I.+ing, causing them to feel as though they would be frozen if they were to even get close to it. Chen Xiang also felt that it was unbelievable, but what surprised him the most was Long Shui's power. This big-breasted dragon girl who loved to eat and sleep the most, had an extremely good inherent skill. Yang Jiutao's expression became heavy, because he wanted to make the purple profound holy mountain smaller, but at this moment, the purple profound holy mountain was infiltrated by a burst of energy. Some of the formation patterns inside had already suffered serious damage. What made him anxious was, the purple mountain had already started to gradually turn white, the entire mountain seemed to be turning into ice. All of this was caused by the mysterious stone tablet below. Here, only a few people knew that the one who used the stone tablet was Chen Xiang. They never thought that after being sealed for a long time, Chen Xiang would still be able to obtain such a powerful item, and his strength was even stronger than before. Even without revealing his own aura, Chen Xiang was still extremely powerful. This kind of progress made those who were familiar with him feel extremely shocked. What kind of C.R.A. PPY holy mountain is this? Let's get rid of it. This is the power of my heavenly dragon supreme lord. I'll let you have a taste of my power. Long Shui's power crazily flowed away, but she was still incomparably spirited. Very quickly, the entire huge purple profound holy mountain turned white, and became an ice mountain. Yang Jiutao had been trying his best to control the purple profound holy mountain to expel the cold energy, but it was now impossible to reverse it. Die for me. Yang Jiutao knew that his strength was no match for Chen Xiang, but he still fought with the few elders, using all of his strength. The moment Chen Xiang sensed that he was being besieged by a few experts, he immediately withdrew his heaven-suppressed immortal monument and left the legendary SPAC. However, when the purple profound holy mountain didn't have the support of a few heaven-suppressed immortal monument, he immediately fell down. A loud noise pierced through the clouds as the frozen purple profound holy mountain was smashed into pieces by Yang Jiutao and the rest. The purple profound holy mountain was still destroyed by them in the end, which made Yang Jiutao even more furious. Shattered ice crystals from the purple profound holy mountain were scattered all over the place. This was originally a sacred weapon, but now it had been destroyed by a mysterious giant tablet. Shattered ice crystals from the purple profound holy mountain were scattered all over the place. This was originally a sacred weapon, but now it had been destroyed by a mysterious giant tablet. The reason why Chen Xiang was able to obtain this heaven-suppressed immortal monument was all thanks to the Fire Divine Palace. If not for them being able to find the huge profound being in the profound cold ancient realm, who knows how long this heaven-suppressed immortal monument would have been sealed for. What a powerful heaven-suppressed immortal monument! I have used up both my divine power and dragon power. Long Shui's voice was extremely weak. Just now, Chen Xiang could feel a strong energy surging out from her body, able to unleash the powerful energy hidden within the heaven-suppressed immortal monument. Kill him! Yang Jiutao's face was extremely sinister, his veins popping. This sacred artifact was truly powerful. Even in the heaven realm, it was still a priceless treasure, and this was lent to him by the secret expert of the Fire Divine Palace, in order to allow him to successfully take over the divine weapon's heavenly country. But now it had been destroyed. Destroying a holy ranked artifact, even in the heaven realm, was an earth-shattering thing. With the sacred fire school's power treasures destroyed, the morale of the people on the side of the Chern martial continent boosted, and they charged even more. Furthermore, they sent out their elites, and each of them sent a small team that was well trained. Yang Jiutao roared. A red cloud suddenly appeared in the sky, burning with intense flames and steaming hot, causing everyone on the battlefield to look like they were inside a furnace. Die! Yang Jiutao's palm descended and the fiery clouds in the sky rolled, turning into a giant flaming palm that fiercely smashed downwards. The strong force caused a large piece of the ground to be torn apart. In front of this gigantic flaming palm, Chen Xiang was like a mosquito. Even after being struck by the palm, he was still pressed down heavily to the ground. The huge fire palm imprinted itself onto the cracked ground. The flames were still burning, and when it struck the ground, a torrential wave of fire engulfed the entire battlefield, burning all the corpses on the ground and causing the stench of blood to fade. This guy actually used flames to attack me. Chen Xiang was pressed down by the huge palm, and when he was struck ruthlessly, the impact caused his entire body to feel pain, but it was nothing much to him. Devouring Magic Kung Fu. When Chen Xiang used the Devouring Magic Kung Fu, he entered into the depths of the abyss like a bottomless whirlpool. As for the giant flaming palm that was suppressing him, it was like an ocean water that crazily revolved and entered Chen Xiang's body. I have used more than half of my innate qi to activate this fire cloud palm. Even if I cannot kill him, I can heavily injure him. At this time, my power has not dispersed, and I can at least seal him for a period of time. Yang Jiutao thought, but when he saw that his palm had sunk down, his face changed. Chen Xiang's devouring speed became faster and faster, because these flames were all formed from extremely pure energy, and he also used the Fire God method to turn his Dantian into a Fire Dantian, digesting these flames very quickly. The gigantic flame palm was slowly shrinking, and was being devoured by Chen Xiang, becoming his own power. After the power of the fire palm had weakened and was unable to seal Chen Xiang, he suddenly jumped into the air, dragging a long trail of flames with him. This was the remaining power of the fire palm. Block him! Seeing Chen Xiang rush plussing down, Yang Jiutao bellowed, wanting to call for help and work together to kill Chen Xiang. But at this time, only his 3 elders from the sacred fire school were not being held back. They had all come to Yang Jiutao's side, and did not dare to rush forward like this to battle with Chen Xiang, who was falling stars. It's my turn now. Chen Xiang took a deep breath, and the genuine qi of 5 elements in his body suddenly started to seethe with excitement. The 5 beast statues seemed to emit excited roars from his dantian, causing the innate qi that he released to become even stronger. The genuine qi of 5 elements smashed together, turned into genuine qi of universe, and poured into Chen Xiang's limbs and bones, fusing together with his valiant body of heavenly sage, causing his current strength to become even stronger. The power of earth. Chen Xiang channeled the chant within the ground killing, and through his many years of understanding the ground killing, he was able to transform the energy within his body into the power of earth. Chen Xiang seemed to have merged with nature at this moment. Even though his entire body was emitting a very strong aura, it seemed to contain a kind of natural spirituality. When he punched out, the force released from his fist felt like a surging torrent, a surging wave. That kind of aura also made people feel like they were standing at the foot of countless towering mountains. Withdraw. Yang Jiutao's expression changed suddenly, because he had already seen through something. He knew that the power the other party used was most likely from inside the heaven-earth killing method. The 3 elders of the Sacred Fire School had already escaped at their highest speeds, but they were still shrouded by the terrifying energy. That power seemed to have countless invisible hands, which ripped the bodies of the 3 elders apart as BLOODY pieces fell from the sky, causing the hearts of the group of people below to jump out of their chests. Half of Yang Jiutao's body had already been torn off, and his head was still stuck on that half of his body, not yet dead. His face carried incomparable fear, and he knew that he was going to die. This is heaven and earth. Humph! With a cold snort, Chen Xiang appeared behind Yang Jiutao in the blink of an eye, and using that power, he punched towards Yang Jiutao's head, turning him into a blood mist. The leader and the clan elders were all wiped out. Just now, Yang Jiutao had already asked the other powers for help multiple times, allowing them to join hands and take down Chen Xiang. Right after Chen Xiang killed Yang Jiutao, he felt a familiar aura. This guy finally made his move, but he's too late. This was the immortal monarch inside the Sacred Fire School. They were the people from the Fire Divine Palace. Someone had already reported what had happened here, but they were still a step too late. By the time the immortal monarch arrived, both and Purple Profound Holy Mountain were no longer here. Elder Li, Elder Duan, immortal monarch is here. Chen Xiang anxiously sent a sound transmission to them. The strength of immortal monarch was extremely terrifying. Only Duan Chong and Li Baojun could fight together. However, this immortal monarch did not plan to partake. 1p8 in the battle. In order to prevent immortal monarch from attacking the weaker people, Li Baojun and Duan Chong immediately rushed over. At this time, the powerhouses brought their own men and quickly retreated. Some of the powers had already been exterminated, and only a few old fellows were holding on. In this battle, the alliance suffered heavy losses, because they were too careless. Their opponents suddenly had a immortal monarch joining them, which put a lot of pressure on Chen Xiang and the others. They had originally planned to kill them all. Their opponents suddenly had a immortal monarch joining them, which put a lot of pressure on Chen Xiang and the others. They had originally planned to kill them all. Chen Xiang then activated his sound kill magic power on the retreating group of people. When they were retreating, some of them did not have enough time to defend, as a large number of them were killed or injured by the sound wave. What an annoying fellow! When the immortal monarch saw Chen Xiang and the others chasing after them with all their might, he waved his hand, causing a fire cloud to instantly cover the entire sky, and a huge palm to fall down. It was the fire cloud palm that Yang Jiutao had previously used, but now it was unleashed by the immortal monarch, which was extremely powerful. The fire cloud palm instantly smashed down, causing Chen Xiang and the rest to have no choice but to use all of their strength to block it, otherwise it would be difficult for them to receive heavy injuries. I'll chop you guys up next time. After leaving those words, the immortal monarch hurriedly left. They, the Fire Divine Palace, had suffered the most losses in this battle. Chen Xiang sent a sound transmission to Li Baojun, Duan Chong and Zhuo Jinchuan. I'll leave this place to you guys. I need to continue to mix in with them and get the news from first hand. If not for that, there would not have been such a victory today, inflicting heavy injuries to the powers who were eyeing the Chen martial continent. Although many people had died, this scale of war could only be considered small, and the Chen martial continent had only sent a small amount of elite. At this time, Chen Xiang had already become the red-faced ghost killer king and arrived at the sacred fire mountain. The number of people who could hold meetings here had decreased by more than half, and every person had varying degrees of injuries. The vacant seats were all reserved for the other powers, so they had already sent people to inform the upper echelons of the other forces to send people to attend the meeting. They had originally thought that they would be safe, but now that they had lost so miserably, they did not expect that after the death of Divine Weapon's heavenly country, the various powers of the Chun martial continent would react so quickly, with many of their elite soldiers gathered in the Divine Weapon's heavenly country, ready to attack the moment anything bad happened. They thought that without Chen Xiang, the dragon subduing school would become dispirited and depressed all the way. However, right now they were secretly developing to be so powerful with so many elite disciples. Partic. 1p. Aiding in the battle, becoming the person who killed the most enemies in the previous battle. Seeing Ghost Killing King's mask, everyone was very unhappy, because the one who suffered the least was this Ghost Killing school, and not a single person went. Although the Ghost Killing King had promised to go look around, but they did not even see a shadow of him. Xue Xianxian and Ling Yulan, as well as a few elders from the Divine Weapon's heavenly country, were not present on the battlefield, so no one suspected the Ghost Killing King at all. Because in today's situation, if Xue Xianxian and his son Ling Yulan could partic 1p8, it would definitely happen, because even the Dan Fragrance Pure Land's Wu Qianqian had come. No matter how much they suspected, they would never suspect the Ghost Killing School. Previously, the Ghost Killing School and the Devil Race had colluded and provoked the Divine Weapon's heavenly country time and time again. Some people from both sides had died, so no one would think that the Ghost Killing King and the Divine Weapon's heavenly country were allied. Of course the Ghost Killing School would not join hands with the Divine Weapon's heavenly country, but Chen Xiang knew, and Chen Xiang could be the real leader, because he had killed the Ghost Killing King, so he had the qualifications to sit in this position. Another thing that made everyone unhappy was that the Immortal Monarch did not attack from the start, but only appeared at the end. Otherwise they would not have suffered so many casualties. Of course, they didn't dare to say anything now, because none of the Leader S and Elders were able to return. Adding on the destroyed Saint artifact, this Immortal Monarch would definitely be even more furious. This time we've lost so much we can't just let it go like this. Let's get ready for the decisive battle. The Immortal Monarch said, "When the time comes I will fight," and that senior. To be a senior of the Immortal Monarch, their abilities did not need to be mentioned, they were definitely the Immortal King. The crowd was secretly unhappy. If they had this power, they would not have sent them out earlier, and would have stayed behind to watch them die. The Immortal Monarch and the Immortal King did not join in the battle because they had their reservations. Although they could be considered as top rankers that were few in number, it did not mean that they could slaughter people without any restrictions, especially humans. When Chen Xiang heard Immortal Monarch's words, his heart became heavy, because he was most worried about the Immortal King and Immortal Monarch partic. 1p. Aiding in the battle. If it really came to that day, if White Tiger Fighting Race did not intervene, no one could force the two experts to join. Right now, all the powers were severely injured, and they could not attack Chen Martial Continent in the near future. Unless those Immortal Kings made a move, they would have their reasons for not helping the Immortal Kings, and they too would not want to take down Chen Martial Continent. In a few days, that senior will come out of seclusion. If any of you want his guidance, you can stay here for now or come back later. At the end of the meeting, the Immortal Monarch's words made everyone's eyes light up. Many people stayed there for the sake of that senior. After all, he was an Immortal King, and in their eyes, he was an extremely powerful existence. Right now, they could only look up at him in admiration. Chen Xiang did not leave. He wanted to see if there was really a Immortal King hidden in the sacred Fire Mountain. If that was true, then the Fire Divine Palace had invested a lot of resources, and wanted to make the two Immortal Kings sacrifice a large amount of cultivation time to come to the sky that was filled with dense spirit energy. This would very likely destroy the future of the two Immortal Kings, although it was very difficult to raise their cultivation level, but at this stage, no one would give up on the opportunity to raise their strength. Deep into the night, Chen Xiang sat on his bed and closed his eyes to rest. He did not sleep. This was the enemy's lair. How could he sleep deeply? Who? Chen Xiang suddenly sensed that someone had appeared outside the door. I am the great clan elder of the devil race. Can we have a chat inside? It was the voice of an old man. Come in, said coldly. Previously, the collusion between Devil Race S must have been related to that dead ghost-killing king, but now that the ghost-killing king was new, if Devil Race wanted to continue working with the ghost-killing school, they had come. The great clan elder's name was Mo Su. He was an old man who looked like he was about to puke, but he was actually very strong. Mo Su said with a gentle smile on his face. We had always been cooperating with the ghost-killing school, but we didn't expect the exchange to be so quick. If you're willing to continue cooperating with us, there will definitely be benefits. Chen Xiang asked, How do we cooperate? Mo Su immediately sent a sound transmission to Chen Xiang. Help us kill people, kill all those fellows who want to deal with Devil Race, and replace them with that ghost-killing king who hasn't even completed the tasks that we entrusted to him, so I hope that you can complete it. Chen Xiang sent a sound transmission to ask, reward. Chen Xiang sent a sound transmission to ask, reward. Sir, you should know who the person you want to kill is first. It won't be too late to ask. Mo Su chuckled. The one you want to kill is Ancient Wasteland Devil Sect's second elder. No problem. Now we can talk about the rewards. I care more about that. Chen Xiang was extremely willing to kill anyone from the Ancient Wasteland Devil Sect. No matter how curious Chen Xiang was, he would never ask about it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like how it was in the ghost-killing school. Ancient Wasteland Devil Sect and Devil Race were both powerful forces of the Devil Realm, so there were definitely schemes and battles in the shadows. But to develop to this point, this was already a very serious matter, especially at such a critical juncture. The powers within the Devil Realm were not as harmonious as Chen Xiang had imagined. Chen Xiang suddenly realized that this point could be used to allow the alliance to engage in internal strife. As long as there were benefits to be had, he could instigate them. 1 trillion spar. Mo Su said. Alright, this is the first time I'm cooperating with you guys. I won't be haggling anymore, it's a good start. Felt that it was worth it if he could get 1 trillion spar just by killing one. Not everyone could do it through this kind of business. He will go to the Demon Realm's Snake City. You can make a move there. The best would be if you were to create the appearance of someone being killed by the evil demon, and that way you won't be suspected anymore. Su Yun said in a low voice. Chen Xiang immediately left Sacred Fire Mountain, heading towards its Thousand Snake City. Otherwise, if the second elder of the Ancient Wasteland Devil Sect died here, he would definitely be suspected. He disguised himself as the same evil demon whose body emitted the aura of poison, and in the 10,000 Snake City, there were many demons who were like this. The city of 10,000 snakes was very dilapidated. It was not as tidy as a human city. Many of the shops here were made of random stones, and the streets were filled with potholes. If it rained, it would definitely be muddy. Why did the second elder of the Ancient Wasteland Devil Sect come to this place? Chen Xiang was curious. He felt that he must be here to meet someone, and this person might be a strong ranker from a force in the demon realm. In this rundown city, a tall and STUR DY old man wearing gorgeous clothes suddenly appeared, immediately attracting many people's attention. This was because the monsters here were mostly serpent demons, which looked very thin and weak. Only a small portion paid attention to their own clothes. It's this guy. He came here with such high profile. It looks like he's very confident. Chen Xiang could feel that the demon chi in his opponent's dantian was extremely thick. He should be a devil cultivator that had undergone 8 or 9 tribulations of nirvana tribulations. Ancient Wasteland Devil Sect, I never thought that we would meet again. Chen Xiang thought and continued to follow the second elder of Ancient Wasteland Devil Sect with his divine soul. The second clan elder's name was Ji Chong, and his position in Ancient Wasteland Devil Sect was very high. Even though he was the second clan elder, leader had to see his expression sometimes. An ancient wasteland devil sect's great clan elder had already gone into closed-door cultivation for a while now, and had yet to come out. The moment Ji Chong arrived at this city, he quickly walked towards a relatively dignified stone tower. As for Chen Xiang, he could already feel that there were a few powerful auras inside the stone tower. "Is there a powerful guy in that tower?" Chen Xiang asked a little serpent demon. "Not just one, but a few. Those are the greater demons from the 10,000 Snake City. Those who evolved from snakes to flood dragons are the 5 great black flood dragons that have already transcended the 9 nirvana tribulations. If they advance a bit more, they might be able to turn into dragons," the little snake demon said with a face full of yearning. Chen Xiang followed along and headed towards the stone tower. There were 5 black jiaos, which meant that their strength was considered top-notch in the demon realm, so the second elder must have something important to discuss with the 5 black jiao. Ji Chong was brought to a stone room underneath the tower. Inside the stone room sat 5 black-armored men, their bodies emitting a poisonous gas. It seemed like they were 5 poisonous dragons that knew how to use poison. "I never thought that you would be able to keep your promise on something like this. I heard that you guys suffered heavy losses when you attacked the Divine Weapon's heavenly country," a black flood dragon said. Its voice was extremely cold and emotionless. "Even so, we absolutely cannot miss such an important matter. Did you all bring that thing?" Ji Chong asked, and then took out a large jade box. As they were making the trade, Chen Xiang became curious, because they seemed to be exchanging for some incredible thing, otherwise they would not have advanced so quickly, because after Ji Chong had entered the stone tower, the other spirit demon beings inside were all chased out, and no one was allowed to go near. "We need to see your stuff first." A black flood dragon stared at the jade box. Although its voice was ice-cold, its eyes were emitting a fervent light. It stretched out its hand to grab the jade box. Ji Chong pressed a hand on the jade box. "I can let you see, but you are not allowed to touch it." These 5 black flood dragons slightly frowned. Looking at their appearances, they really did not understand the rules of the trade, and Chen Xiang also did not know what Ji Chong had taken a fancy to actually have to endure these fellows. "Yes." A black jiao took out a black box. This time, it was Ji Chong's turn to have a pious, cyanate look. "Now you can open it for us to see, right? If you are sure, then we will fight with each other," the black jiao said, a big hand pressing down on the black box. The black box was made extremely well, with good materials. It did not seem like something that the demon realm would have. Ji Chong opened the jade box and saw that inside the jade box there were 5 transparent pearls, and at the core of each pearl there were 5 separate black dots, which looked like 5 drops of black blood. "This is the blood of the evil dragon." Long Shui gritted his teeth and said, "Evil dragons are not good people, and these 5 drops of blood can allow these 5 black dragons to step into the path of the evil dragon." Seeing Long Shui like that, Chen Xiang knew that the evil dragon blood was not simple. "How did you get hold of the ancient wasteland devil sect's second clan elder? Such a thing should be very difficult to obtain." "Of course it's difficult. I also want to know, maybe there is a part of the evil dragon's body in ancient wasteland devil sect. Back then, the evil dragon was killed by the many strong beings, but some of them still preserved a part of the evil dragon's body. The evil dragon's body is eternal for 10,000 years. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang did not attack immediately, because the 5 black jiao were not weak either. He also wanted to see what was going to exchange the evil dragon's blood for. "Now that it's your turn, you all should be able to see that this isn't fake, right?" Ji Chong said as he closed the lid of the jade box, and then firmly pressed down on the jade box. Chen Xiang felt that the item in the jade box in the black jiao's hand was even more terrifying. The item that Ji Chong had taken out could satisfy the needs of the 5 black jiaos, and the item that the 5 black jiaos had taken out was only for Ji Chong. Even so, Ji Chong still wanted it this way. Chen Xiang felt that the item in the jade box in the Black Jiao's hand was even more terrifying. The item that Ji Chong had taken out could satisfy the needs of the 5 Black Jiaos, and the item that the 5 Black Jiaos had taken out was only for Ji Chong. Even so, Ji Chong still wanted it this way. Wait a little longer, I need to make sure that no one is around. You should know how scary the things in my box are. The Black Jiao looked at his other 2 companions and signaled for them to clear the area. Seeing the other party being so cautious, Chen Xiang immediately left the place, but he was still paying attention to what was happening. He guessed that the thing inside must be something that could cause people to tremble, it could even attract countless of death. The few black dragon men who had turned into big men wandered around the stone tower. After chasing away the rest, they stood on top of the stone tower and looked around through a few windows. At this moment, only Ji Chong and the black dragon leader were in the underground stone room. Isn't this your territory? Aren't you being too paranoid? Ji Chong said. He could not wait any longer. He really wanted to see if the other party had obtained the things he needed. If you had stayed here for a few more years, you wouldn't have said that. There are a lot of people who killed me here. If it wasn't for the fact that we have a bit of strength, someone would have taken away our inner cores long ago. Boss Black Flood Dragon said. You guys probably have a lot of demonic cores from other people too, your demon realm's law of the jungle is almost the same as us. Ji Chong sighed. Chen Xiang waited for less than an hour before he finally opened the black box. Inside was a black pearl, and when he opened the lid, Chen Xiang could see that Ji Chong's Hi plus Verid. He could tell that the pearl had a Stonies Hi plus in cold energy, otherwise it would not have caused people of Ji Chong's level to feel cold. As expected of the profound Han poison, even though it was sealed inside this pearl, it's still this cold. Ji Chong exclaimed. It was actually a profound Han poison, the super old poison used by the evil Snake King to deal with LV Qinlian previously. It was said that it was the weakest super old poison, but it was also very powerful. What is this guy doing with this poison? Is he trying to deal with someone stronger than him? Chen Xiang wondered. This guy is the 2nd clan elder of the ancient wasteland devil sect. Could it be that he wants to usurp the position of the leader? If we were to suddenly use this poison during battle, we would definitely be able to defeat someone much stronger than him. Long Shui said. Boss Black Dragon closed the box and said in a serious tone, We both know very well what this profound Han poison is. If you use this poison to expose yourself, not to mention we gave it to you, but also there is no cure for this poison, so you have to be careful when using it and get your own feet smashed by stones. When the news of the evil Snake King using profound Han poison spread out, it caused the experts of the 3rd realm to panic. When the news reached the Heaven realm, those immortal kings immediately gave them bounty. In the Heaven realm, the strength of these immortal kings could be said to be at the top of the higher realms. If not for the conflicts between the immortal kings and the immortal kings, they could live for a long time, but if they used those super old poisons, it would be different. As long as there was a way to release those super old poisons, once they were poisoned, they would die. You don't have to worry about that. When I use it, I'll definitely advance a lot. Can we trade now? Ji Chong was in a hurry to obtain the profound Han poison, so he immediately took out his own jade box and used these 5 drops of evil dragon blood to exchange for the profound Han poison. Both sides had obtained things that they were satisfied with, so they were naturally happy. However, Boss Black Dragon was still a bit worried, so he warned Ji Chong again to be careful when using it. How did these profound Han poison come about? The evil Snake King has them and the Black Flood Dragon has them. Could it be that somewhere in the demon realm, they can grow this kind of strange poison? Since it was the evil poison, Chen Xiang also wanted to get it. Although he already had 2 super old poison that were even more powerful than profound Han poison, the more of these things the better. Originally, Chen Xiang planned to kill Ji Chong here, but if he did that, he would definitely alarm the 5 black Jiaos back. He believed that there must be an even more powerful demon behind the 5 black Jiaos back. Otherwise, if they couldn't get a hold of the profound Han poison, it wouldn't be easy for them to compress the profound Han poison into a bead. He felt that the 5 black Jiaos had a huge relations, Hi plus P with. Chen Xiang followed closely behind Ji Chong, and after he left far away from the 10,000 Snake City, he suddenly increased his speed, took out his hammer of God, used the power of the spatial laws, traveled through SP, AC, and suddenly appeared behind Ji Chong, who was sprinting. This ruthless strike, forget about Ji Chong, even if a immortal monarch were here, without any treasure or defense, would cause them to vomit blood if they were struck on the back by this ruthless strike. The bones in Ji Chong's chest that were on his back instantly shattered, the flesh and blood inside was dirty, it was also ripped, causing Ji Chong to spit out a mouthful of blood. He flew out and moaned while lying on the ground. As the second elder of the ancient Wasteland Devil Sect, he held a very high position within the ancient Wasteland Devil Sect, which meant that he was not weak, but right now, he had been beaten to a pulp by someone with a single strike, and was lying on the ground, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. Before Ji Chong could understand what was going on, he felt a palm land on his head ruthlessly, followed by a surge of vast spiritual energy seeping into his sea of consciousness, rummaging through his sea of consciousness and searching through his memories. This caused him to be greatly shocked. Ji Chong was a powerful devil cultivator. He naturally knew that the soul-absorbing devil spell, this kind of powerful devil art, was extremely famous in the heaven realm. Forget about learning it, it was not easy even seeing it with his own eyes. As long as it was a devil cultivator, no one wouldn't want to learn this kind of peerless devil art. This not only allowed them to look through the memories of others, but also allowed them to devour other people's souls and carry out strong mental attacks. If it wasn't for the fact that this kind of devil art rarely appeared, and was deemed lost, they would have long been included in the list of forbidden technique. Who are you? Ji Chong endured the severe pain in his head, gritted his teeth and asked, but when Chen Xiang used soul-absorbing devil spell on him, he had already taken off his storage magic treasure, and its profound Han poison was inside. You're quite ambitious. I've accepted the profound Han poison. Chen Xiang gathered his God power together and fiercely dove it into Ji Chong's sea of consciousness, shattering it along with his soul. After killing Ji Chong, he had obtained the profound Han poison, and also received the 1,000 billion spar Esgrat Die. From the devil race. He never thought that not long after he had become a ghost-killing king, he would already have such an abundant income. After killing Ji Chong, he had obtained the profound Han poison, and also received the 1,000 billion spar Esgrat Die. From the devil race. He never thought that not long after he had become a ghost-killing king, he would already have such an abundant income. After burning Ji Chong's body up, Chen Xiang immediately returned to the sacred fire school. He also wanted to meet the mysterious immortal king hidden in the sacred fire school. As ghost-killing king, it was normal for people to appear and disappear, and the experts that gathered in the sacred fire school were no longer surprised. However, the ghost-killing king made them feel extremely fearful of him, because no one knew what kind of appearance or background he had, and the scariest thing was his ability to assassinate people. In order to not expose himself, Chen Xiang tried his best to avoid conversing with others, but Mo Su was an exception. When Mo Su saw that the ghost-killing king had returned, he immediately sent people to investigate. He wanted to confirm if the Ji Chong was really dead, and it would take a period of time. Chen Xiang was not anxious. Even if he could not obtain the 1 trillion spar, it would be considered good enough for him to obtain some. Chen Xiang was worried about when the Fire Divine Palace would attack the Chen Martial Continent. Although he had already lost a lot, he knew that the Fire Divine Palace was definitely not just a little bit of strength, and there were definitely hidden forces in the Fire Divine Palace, but if he were to fight again, the huge losses that would result from that would shake the foundations of the other big powers. However, this did not mean that they would not fight, because the conflict between them and the Chun Martial Continent was no longer possible to resolve. And the advantages that the Chun Martial Continent had allowed the various powers above the Chun Martial Continent to become very powerful in the future. If they allowed those powers above the Chun Martial Continent to continue developing, in the future, once they had enough power, they would be the first to be annihilated. Furthermore, they had already lost so much previously, they could not afford to lose it for nothing. Therefore, they hoped that the two immortal kings of Fire Divine Palace would take action. The reason the Fire Divine Palace used so much power to seal him was also because of this. After waiting here for a few days, he heard the news of the second clan elder's death. The Pearl of Life had already been broken, which meant that he was dead. Once they went to the 10,000 Snake City, they would die. People couldn't help but wonder if the 5 black Jiaos of the 10,000 Snake City had that kind of strength. Ji Chong was quite famous in the Devil Realm. Many experts of various powers in the human realm knew of this powerful being, but now that he was dead, it was related to the Demon Realm's city of 10,000 snakes. At this time, Mo Su had also acknowledged the power of the new ghost-killing king. It was done very beautifully and very quickly, but it was not completed after going out for a short while, so after he confirmed that Ji Chong had secretly given him 1,000,000,000 spars after he died. Previously, Chun Xiang had absorbed all of Ji Chong's memories and knew why Mo Su wanted to kill him. It was because Mo Su and Ji Chong were good friends, and they had even done some things that could not be exposed to the world. For example, Mo Su and Ji Chong had secretly teamed up and quietly devoured a lot of the benefits of the devil race. Because the two of them were greedy beyond compare, it made Mo Su suspicious, but in the end, Mo Su still got rid of all the suspicions. It was just that Ji Chong was using this method to force Mo Su to help him take the position of ancient wasteland devil sect. That was why he wanted Chun Xiang to kill him. That way, he would be able to rest in peace, and Ji Chong didn't know that, so he told Mo Su about his whereabouts, allowing him to grasp Ji Chong's whereabouts at all times. When Ji Chong thought about this matter, he could not help but let out a sigh. This was because not only was it the devil cultivator even within the human realm such a thing was normal. As everyone was discussing the matter of Ji Chong's death, the immortal monarch suddenly walked out and said in a low voice, "That senior has come out." The hall immediately quietened down, all of them tidying up their clothes, all of them hoping for the immortal king to nod his head and attack Chun Martial Continent. At that time, they wouldn't have to put in so much effort. Chun Xiang had already felt a strong aura. It was indeed at the immortal king level. Its strength was similar to that of the hall master, but he did not know what position the immortal king held in the Fire Divine Palace. What surprised everyone was that the immortal king looked to be very young and pretty, with delicate features, a high nose bridge, fair skin, and a beautiful face. This also meant that the immortal king might be a young immortal king, and this made everyone happy. As long as they could persuade the immortal king to make a move, the Chun Martial Continent would be theirs from now on. Even though the young immortal king didn't seem to have any airs of arrogance, the arrogance on his face was extremely obvious. However, this was to be expected, because the people sitting here could be casually crushed to death by him. When the young immortal king saw Chun Xiang, he couldn't help but frown, and his voice carried a trace of ice. "What do you mean by not taking off your mask?" Other than the immortal king, everyone here was a little afraid of the ghost-killing king. They also knew the habits of the ghost killer, and normally did not reveal their true appearances. Chun Xiang never thought that the mask would displease the immortal king, but he suddenly felt a resistance. Even if the immortal king was strong, he did not want to follow his orders. Even if he had to remove the mask, it would not affect him, because he could change his appearance and not be afraid of being recognized. "Didn't you hear me?" The immortal king's tone became even colder. Chen Xiang sighed in his heart. He had to continue staying in the sacred fire school and find out more things that would benefit them, so he could only endure. He extended his hand to remove the mask, revealing an extremely ordinary face. It did not seem to fit his identity. Tai as a ghost-killing king in the slightest. Humph, you are disrespectful to me for appearing here with that mask on. However, seeing as you can help the Fire Divine Palace with just a little, you only need to kowtow and admit your wrongs. The immortal king snorted. He did not even look at Chen Xiang in his eyes, the ordinary face had tainted his eyes. This immortal king was not an ordinary one, but he had the right to be arrogant. He was an immortal king, a lord. No matter how mighty the people here were, in front of an immortal king with extraordinary powers, they could only swallow their anger. Chen Xiang stood up, and everyone's heart was suddenly filled with an indescribable pleasure, because Ghost-Killing King, whom they were usually afraid of, was now kneeling down like a grandson to apologize. Although he was not kneeling down to them, they were still very excited. "What if I don't apologize?" Chen Xiang also said with an ice-cold voice that carried anger. Hearing Chen Xiang's words, everyone secretly took in a cold breath. To actually go against the extremely powerful immortal king, this was simply looking for death, although enduring and crying out loud, kneeling down to kowtow and admit fault was very embarrassing, but being able to live is more important than anything. To not even be able to live, you really do not need face at all. Hearing Chen Xiang's words, everyone secretly took in a cold breath. To actually go against the extremely powerful immortal king, this was simply looking for death, although enduring and crying out loud, kneeling down to kowtow and admit fault was very embarrassing, but being able to live is more important than anything. To not even be able to live, you really do not need face at all. But Chen Xiang didn't think so, because he felt that he could survive even if he didn't kneel down. He chose not to kneel down. Although his current identity, Tai was Ghost-Killing King, if he had to do this, he would still feel humiliated. That young immortal king's countenance sank, and a layer of gloom covered that handsome white face. Anyone could tell that this immortal king was in a bad mood. His voice was filled with killing intent as he spoke. "Are you talking to me?" Chen Xiang suddenly clenched his fists and asked, "Are you deaf? You're courting death." The immortal king snorted. He had already disappeared, and suddenly appeared above Chen Xiang, and with his luxurious big chair, he floated above Chen Xiang, with one palm slamming down. The force of the palm caused all the experts present to tremble. Even immortal monarch felt cold, because even he would be burnt to ashes by the palm strike. However, Chen Xiang dodged. The moment he dodged was extremely strange, as though the immortal king's powerful palm strike had pushed him away, and was not able to harm him at all. "You are courting death. So what if you're an immortal king? I will also make you suffer a big loss." Following Chen Xiang's control, the black chi appeared like a ghost beside the immortal king and coiled around him. The black chi that was emitted also floated around the hall, causing the faces of many experts to turn ashen, because they already knew what the cold energy was when they were sucked into the immortal king's body. The profound Han poison actually had this kind of thing, and it was even used in a place with so many people. Wasn't this just bringing them down with them? Just a moment ago, they were still gloating over the misfortune of the immortal king, but they didn't expect that not long after, they had already entered into an unprecedented life crisis. To actually use super old poison, I will tear you apart alive. The immortal king was furious. His originally handsome white face now had some black chi. His body could be seen trembling because of the profound Han poison. "If you have the guts, then come. My Ghost-Killing King has killed countless people, but I have never killed an immortal king before. In my eyes, you are just a fellow that can lose his life easily like ordinary people." Chen Xiang laughed out loud. "If you're sent down here, you probably won't be able to survive, right? A flaming big hand suddenly smashed down, ruthlessly amazed. Hi plus ing into Chen Xiang, the big flame palm caused Chen Xiang to lie on the ground. Get down. Although he was poisoned, he did cultivate fire and could temporarily defend against the cold poison. He gathered the most powerful force he could muster and struck Chen Xiang, who was lying on the ground and vomiting blood again. A huge hole had also appeared where Chen Xiang had just been lying on the ground. The palm strike from the immortal king caused Chen Xiang to be able to penetrate the island, but he was pressed down by the strong force of the palm and fell right into the volcano underneath the island. It was already a miracle that Chen Xiang was attacked from the front by the immortal king. He did not turn into a mist of blood, but his entire body was in pain. His entire body was still being suppressed by the residual palm force, causing him to sink deeper and deeper into the fire droplets. This bastard. The immortal king's expression was extremely ugly. Fortunately, it's the profound Han poison. We were able to stabilize the spread of this poison and lead them to the training room to borrow the flame's power to expel the poison. If we are lucky, we might even be able to expel the poison in a year or so. This immortal king was the most poisoned, and he had absorbed the most profound Han poison. The immortal monarch looked at the hole that was penetrated through and said, "If you fall in, you should be dead. You're definitely dead. Even if you didn't take my palm and fell into the depths below, you would have died." The immortal king grunted, quickly find out where his profound Han poison came from. Fortunately, it was a person with very weak strength who was using profound Han poison as. If his strength was stronger, and if he used it suddenly, he might already be dead. At this moment, he had an even greater fear of the strange poison. This guy really sent me to such a good place. Since I can't continue on like this, then let's fight to the death. Even if you're an immortal king, you still can't defeat the power of nature. Chen Xiang took out the fire dragon sword and hid the surrounding flame essence. This would allow him to have an empty space deep within the flame essence and at the same time avoid being burnt by the flame essence. He was severely injured by the immortal king's palm and almost fell apart. Luckily, he had a body of heavenly sage, and also the protection of the profound wood diamond armor. After eating a few pieces of relive dan, his body was quickly recovering. He had 2 bone souls, so the speed at which he repaired his bones was extremely fast, and Yulong blood could also play a large role when his meridians and muscles were damaged. Unfortunately, if you use magical corruption gas you might be able to take them down. Long Shui sighed. I originally thought so, but that immortal king still had some strength. At that time he was already on guard against me continuing to poison, and from the looks of the palm he used, he can't use too much power, and when the time comes, I won't be able to take him down, and he might even be able to block me. The moment Chen Xiang said that, he thought of many things. But it's different now. They all thought that I died, and they should all be detoxifying themselves. Long Shui laughed sinisterly. So that's how it is. If I were to sneak in, using that poison again would be different. That's not it, I think it's even worse. Chen Xiang paused for a while and said, This volcano shouldn't be this stable, but it is currently so calm. There should be a large array controlling this volcano. This volcano must have been suppressed for a very long time. If it was damaged to that large array, it might suddenly erupt, and the fire essence that it spewed was suppressed for many years. The lowest kind of fire essence is enough to destroy that island, and destroy Fire Divine Palace and Sacred Fire School in one breath. Although there was an immortal king on the island, it was not all of Fire Divine Palace. Chen Xiang had always thought that the Fire Divine Palace was hiding a lot of power inside this Tian, so he would not relax just because he destroyed the island above. Those who were struck by the profound Han poison all borrowed this warm energy to expel the cold poison from their bodies, while the young immortal king also expelled the terrifying cold poison from his secret room. Although he was an immortal king, He still had to be careful when facing the super old poison, otherwise it would be very easy for him to die because of this. Those who were struck by the profound Han poison all borrowed this warm energy to expel the cold poison from their bodies, while the young immortal king also expelled the terrifying cold poison from his secret room. Although he was a immortal king, he still had to be careful when facing the super old poison, otherwise it would be very easy for him to die because of this. This was only a profound Han poison, the weakest type of super old poison, otherwise others would not even have the chance to expel the poison. They were secretly rejoicing in their hearts. Chen Xiang could only use a profound Han poison. If not for the presence of an immortal king, after Chen Xiang released those profound Han poison, he would have killed them all. All these people would have all died, so whenever they thought about this, they would ver uncontrollably because not long ago they had just brushed shoulders with death. Within D. Tian, Ghost Killing King was never a guy with a good reputation. However, Sacred Fire School only told the public that this matter could be kept a secret. Within the Chen Martial Continent and Dragon Subduing School, only a small portion of people knew that Chen Xiang had snuck into the Sacred Fire School and played an extremely important role there. Now that news of such an event had spread, they were extremely anxious to know about Chen Xiang's current situation. The reason why the Sacred Fire School had released the wanted news about the Ghost Killing King was only to take over the Ghost Killing School, or to clean up the Ghost Killing School, so no one would say anything more. Chen Xiang was currently in the flame essence deep inside the volcano. He had the unique power released by the Fire Dragon Sword, which was able to block the flame essence and come closer, allowing him to find a small space to move below the volcano. Can you find traces of the formation? They must have set up a formation to stabilize the volcano. Chen Xiang said. He had already asked Long Shui to use his divine power to carefully inspect the outside of the volcano. I haven't found it yet. This method of setting up the array is not simple. The formation masters of the Fire Divine Palace are truly powerful. To be able to set up such a powerful formation to suppress this volcano, but not leave any traces behind. Long Shui had not been able to find anything for a long time, which was why she sighed. Chen Xiang was still not fully recovered yet, otherwise he would have gone to look for the array. Look again, maybe it's somewhere else. Chen Xiang thought for a while, then said, Go check out that island. If you haven't found any traces of an array formation on the volcano, then it is very likely that it is on that island. Long Shui immediately followed her instructions and checked the bottom of the floating island. She had already searched through the entire volcano, but could not find any clues. After a while, Long Shui made a huge discovery and shouted in shock, Found it! I didn't expect this island to be the case. What's the situation? Chen Xiang asked anxiously. This island is a huge formation plate. If the Immortal King didn't heavily injure it earlier, it would have been difficult for me to discover it. They also know how important this formation plate is, so they hid it very well, not wanting others to discover it. Long Shui said, When I went to investigate, I saw many people who were trying to cover up that this island is just a camouflage of the formation plate. Chen Xiang smiled and said, As long as you know, it's good enough. Once my injuries have healed, you can go and see what you need to do to quietly destroy the array disk structure. This is not easy to destroy. Earlier, the Immortal King knocked you down and created a hole in the array disk, but the array disk wasn't affected at all. Furthermore, it seems to have the ability to repair itself, but the recovery speed is very slow. Long Shui said. In any case, I have already clashed with the Sacred Fire School. No matter what, I will destroy this island. Chen Xiang had already made up his mind that no matter the cost, he would destroy this island no matter what. Chen Xiang was peacefully recuperating as he was fiercely slapped by the Immortal King. Luckily his body was strong and he had the profound wood diamond armor so his injuries were not too severe, and he could recover in a short period of time. Chen Xiang was currently trying to buy time. He had consumed a large amount of healing pellets, and with the help of the Yulong blood and his bone veins, he would be able to recover in the shortest time possible. If it dragged on for too long, he was worried that the Immortal King would succeed in detoxifying the poison, because this was a volcano, and the Immortal King was a fire cultivator. He learned many powerful fire attribute cultivation techniques in the Fire Divine Palace, which could effectively suppress the profound Han poison. As long as he could make his move before the Immortal King completely exorcised the profound Han poison, he was not worried that the Immortal King would stop him. In merely half a day's time, Chen Xiang had already recovered to his best condition, and currently, he was quickly floating upwards. Although the ghost-killing king had made them afraid, even though they had a super-old poison like the profound Han poison, they had already fallen into the bottom of that terrifying volcano and were even hit by the Immortal King. Thus, they believed that the ghost-killing king had already died. Amongst these people, the one who felt the worst was Mo Su, because he was secretly cooperating with the ghost-killing king before. It could be said that their relations, Hi+P, was not bad, but he didn't expect that before the ghost-killing king died in a counterattack, he would also drag him inside, and let him be infected by this kind of Ned profound Han poison. Also, if the ghost-killing king didn't clash with that immortal king, he could still use the good relations Hi+P he had with the ghost-killing king to cooperate in the future and remove all obstructions. Chen Xiang flew out of the volcano, turned into a wisp of smoke, and rose up to the bottom of the island above. Looking from below, the island seemed to be filled with potholes. It was extremely irregular. It was hard to tell that this was an array disk, and it was so huge, and it carried a lot of mountains. In order to dominate Tian, Fire Divine Palace had invested a large amount of energy and resources. It could be said that the Fire Divine Palace's thoughts were even greater than those of the Tong Tian aristocratic family and Xing domain, who had lost previously. This array disk is very powerful indeed. If you want to destroy it, the most direct method is to use the strongest power possible to destroy everything in one go. However, this array disk already has a very strong self-defense. Even if I were to join hands with you, I still wouldn't be able to shake it at all, exclaimed. He had merely investigated the array disk's internal structure and found many things. Chen Xiang's mind worked quickly as he thought of a way. If you have the time, you can refine a destruction ice seal Dan, just like the one you used to break the seal last time. Su Meiyao said. I'm afraid that won't do. If that immortal king recovered, it would be easy for him to be discovered. Chen Xiang shook his head. It would take a very long time to refine into a destructive ice seal Dan of sufficient power, and at that time, who knows how many people would be on this island. Chen Xiang guessed that the Sacred Fire School must have gathered all of the disciples to protect the island. This was because many of the strong warriors on this island were infected with the poison, and needed a period of time to expel the poison. Where's the heaven-suppressed immortal monument? Bai Yu asked. Although she understood the power of heaven-suppressed immortal monument more than her, but Chen Xiang had used it before, so he knew the power of heaven-suppressed immortal monument much better than her. You can try, but if you don't succeed, there won't be a second chance. Chen Xiang pondered for a moment. In the end, he still decided to use the heaven-suppressed immortal monument because he had already used it to destroy the powerful purple profound holy mountain. Long Shui said, just use up my power. Keep your power so that nothing else happens. Chen Xiang took out his heaven-suppressed immortal monument and used it to hold back the island. At the bottom of the island was a gigantic formation plate. What a strong power! This formation plate should be absorbing the power of the volcano. Such a terrifying power. I wonder if the ice power released by the heaven-suppressed immortal monument can completely freeze this island. Chen Xiang began to worry. He felt that just using Long Xue's power was not enough. Long Xue's power had already been transferred over, and at this time, he decided to pour his power into it as well. With my power, this formation plate is condensing its power to counterattack. We need to freeze more than half of the formation patterns and stop the power from passing through them before the power is gathered. Otherwise, we will miss this chance, Chen Xiang said. Long Xue's dragon power entered Chen Xiang's body and perfectly merged with the dragon power that Chen Xiang released, forming a silver-white-colored terrifying dragon power. The two of them never thought that when their dragon power fused together in its peak state, it would become so strong, so powerful that even they felt a little fear. As the strong wave of dragon power poured into the heaven-suppressed immortal monument, it caused it to spew out a large amount of ice-sealing power. In just a few blinks of an eye, the bottom of the island was covered in a layer of frost, which gradually condensed into a thick layer of ice, and the inner structure of the heaven-suppressed immortal monument also started to turn into ice. However, this did not completely freeze the gigantic formation disk. At this moment, Chen Xiang and the others could clearly feel the array disk's strength slowly approaching them. Prepare yourself to retreat. This surge of strength is so strong that even the immortal king has to avoid it. Long Xue shouted. It will definitely succeed, Chen Xiang said as he furrowed his brows. He had already used all of his strength, and even part of his divine power. The array disk was slowly turning into ice. Just as the energy was about to rush out, at the most critical moment, the energy suddenly dissipated. This was because the important structure inside the array disk had already turned into ice. The power that the heaven-suppressed immortal monument had displayed at this moment made both Chen Xiang and Long Xue extremely excited. Success, continue, Chen Xiang said excitedly. Long Xue's power was also continuously being transferred over, becoming one with Chen Xiang. Strange. Why do I still have so much power? Long Xue suddenly asked with suspicion. Last time Chen Xiang used heaven-suppressed immortal monument to deal with that purple profound holy mountain, she had quickly drained her powers, yet this situation had persisted for so long. After your dragon power and my dragon power merged, it became many times stronger, so with just a little bit of your dragon power, it was able to allow heaven-suppressed immortal monument to achieve such an effect. Chen Xiang said. He also felt this was extremely strange, because previously, when he and Long Xue's dragon power fused together, this did not happen. Although the fusion had become a little stronger previously, it was not as strong as it was now. Let's figure it out in the future. Anyway, when I'm with you, little scoundrel, the strange thing that happened wasn't only this. Long Xue suddenly had a feeling that she was becoming more and more reliant on Chen Xiang. She could not imagine how she would live after leaving Chen Xiang, and she did not want to think about it. After breaking through the defensive array, the seal of ice released by the heaven-suppressed immortal monument was unobstructed, charging straight up to the top. The defenseless mountains instantly turned into an ice mountain. The people inside Sacred Fire School did not know what happened yet, they only felt that it was suddenly very cold, then a strong cold qi invaded their bodies. If those experts had not been struck by the profound Han poison and did not have the powerful strength to resist the invasion of the cold energy, they would not have been frozen instantly. Boom! A series of explosions came out from above. Chen Xiang could also feel that it was the aura of the Immortal King. Only the Immortal King was able to resist the cold qi and not get frozen. None of the others were able to escape, they all became icemen, and the inside of their bodies became ice. This was the power of the heaven-suppressed immortal monument. The Immortal King attacked the island that was gradually turning into ice. Initially, he thought that the entire island was covered in a layer of ice. However, when he bombarded, he discovered that the entire island had turned into ice. Let's leave quickly. The volcano has already gone out of control, Long Xue said. The fact that the immortal king was not frozen was within our expectations. The gigantic volcano below was shaking frantically, the lava was churning. Chen Xiang only felt some regret. He did not manage to kill the immortal king in one breath. Let's go. Chen Xiang kept his heaven-suppressed immortal monument and continued to travel through SPAC. As long as he escaped in a random direction, he would be able to leave the volcano. Although he could enter the depths of the volcano had lost control, and the power that erupted was not something he could withstand. Although the immortal king who was high in the sky had not completely removed the profound Han poison from his body, he could still use a part of it under his control. He suddenly recalled that the purple profound holy mountain of his sect were also destroyed like that, and immediately checked his surroundings. Many resources were piled here. Many Fire Divine Palaces had carefully groomed many talents for many years, but they were all destroyed just now, because this was the responsibility of this immortal king. Even if he survived, he would definitely be held accountable by the Hall Master. Who exactly are you? You have fought against our Fire Divine Palace so many times, you have this kind of strength, why are you still acting so sneakily? The immortal king chased after Chen Xiang, his speed extremely fast, as he gradually approached Chen Xiang and shouted loudly. Chen Xiang wore the blood-red mask and turned his head. He glanced at the immortal king and only sneered. Chen Xiang wore the blood-red mask and turned his head. He glanced at the immortal king and only sneered. When the immortal king saw that the person in front of him was actually wearing a red mask, he immediately understood many things. It's you. The immortal king had heard the reports about the attacks on the divine weapons heavenly country, so he quickly realized that the ghost-killing king was just an internal attack. The purple profound holy mountain was destroyed after being frozen, and the island was the same. Just when the immortal king understood many things, a violent roar came from behind him. The volcano erupted, and the commotion was extremely shocking. It actually produced such a roar. The moment the island erupted, it was also vaporized by the intense heat. Who the hell are you? From the beginning till the end, their Fire Divine Palace had been tricked by this person. He was secretly cursing that ghost-killing school, and if it wasn't for the fact that ghost-killing school liked to wear masks and have such lousy rules, he wouldn't have allowed such a person to sneak in. This person was also very powerful. After being ruthlessly slapped by him, he actually didn't die. Instead, he even destroyed that island and was still able to run so fast. The only thing he was sure of was that this person couldn't beat him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have run away now. You have been chasing me the entire time, aren't you afraid that I will use the profound Han poison again? Chen Xiang finally spoke. You can't kill me. If you have the guts, then use the profound Han poison to deal with me right now. This time, I'll definitely kill you myself. You should not have destroyed that island. Because of this, you revealed your identity. 1. Tai and you, who uses the profound Han poison, joined forces with the Chen Martial Continent. If I were to tell anyone, that Chen Martial Continent would definitely attract more enemies. The strong forces of the humans in the Fire Divine Palace, even if they did not resist the invasion of the demons, they should not have teamed up with the demons, and even more so, should not attack the Chen Martial Continent, the forces specializing in dealing with demons. You should not go and take a look. How many people hate your Fire Divine Palace to the bone? Who would believe your words? Fire Divine Palace had always been the most active in defeating demons. Now that Chen Martial Continent was trying to prevent them from getting annihilated by Fire Divine Palace, he had no choice but to retract the power to suppress demons to protect himself. Therefore, right now Fire Divine Palace's reputation was extremely bad, and there were already a lot of people who had received favors from Chen Martial Continent gathered in Chen Martial Continent, preparing to deal with Fire Divine Palace. If the news of your island being destroyed spread out, a majority of the people would cheer. Your Fire Divine Palace has committed too many sins and is not welcomed with Dtion, and even more so, I won't let your Fire Divine Palace dominate Dtion. Chen Xiang's voice was very powerful and filled with determination. With your dog-like power, you want to destroy Fire Divine Palace? There are 3 immortal kings in Fire Divine Palace. Sooner or later, your Chen martial continent will be destroyed by us, so sooner or later, Dtion will be ours. The immortal king sneered. Chen Xiang was secretly shocked. There were actually 3 immortal kings in the Fire Divine Palace. Other than the one chasing after him and the Hall Master, there was actually one more. This made him break out in a cold sweat. What? Scared? Stop your pointless struggle and accept your death. Taking the risk of the profound Han poison spreading throughout his body, this immortal king used a portion of his power to resist the evil poison, causing his own speed to increase. He instantly appeared behind Chen Xiang's back, and smashed his palm towards the area of Chen Xiang's dantian. The chance has come. Chen Xiang was waiting for this exact moment, and his reaction was also very fast. He flipped in the air, avoiding this powerful palm strike. Let's see how long you can block for. The immortal king slapped his palm towards Chen Xiang again with lightning speed, his strength increasing. Chen Xiang shouted, and also threw out a palm attack towards the immortal king. The 2 palms fiercely struck together, and Chen Xiang's arm let out a series of crisp sounds. All of his bones were broken, and his entire arm was bleeding. You overestimate yourself. The immortal king smirked. In his eyes, Chen Xiang was too weak to withstand a single blow. Humph! Although one of Chen Xiang's arms was injured, there were no major internal injuries on his body. At this moment, he actually laughed, was even more pleased and happy than the immortal king. Just as the immortal king felt puzzled, his expression suddenly changed. It became incomparably ugly and filled with fear. He discovered that there were 2 more poisons inside his body. He swallowed his saliva because he had already determined what kind of poison these 2 poisons were. Magical corruption gas and drunk G.O.D. magical poison were 2 kinds of super old poison, and both of them were stronger than profound Han poison. These 2 poisons were not able to control fire like profound Han poison, and the poison properties of these 2 poisons were very strange, so the rate of their spread was also very fast. The muscles on the face of the immortal king twitched. It was already gradually turning black. His entire body was becoming weak and weak. This was the effect of the drunk G.O.D. magical poison's poison. The energy in his body was being numbed. You will die a horrible death, the immortal king said malevolently. Ha ha! The one who should be dead in a bad way is you. You have 3 super old poison in your body, so you will definitely die in a horrible way, but you should be happy about this because there are very few people who can die under these 3 super old poison. Chen Xiang laughed out loud, then took out a black hammer. Seeing his hammer, the immortal king's face changed. He knew that profound cold ancient realm had destroyed the ice palace, and that Ice Emperor had suddenly revived and partook. 1p. Aided in the battle, but was killed in the end by a person holding a black hammer. You were the one who killed the Ice Emperor. The immortal king's forehead was dripping with sweat. That's right. You were able to die in my hands like the Ice Emperor. You should be proud of yourself now. Chen Xiang struck his hammer forward. With the energy of his body of heavenly sage and dragon power, the punch caused the air to crumble and fall down ruthlessly from the air above the immortal king's head. The moment the hammer landed, the strong pressure released tore apart the immortal king's body. At the same time, a strong wave of heaven fire surged out and burnt that BLOODY object to ashes. There are 2 more. This Fire Divine Palace is so powerful, they have sent 3 immortal kings. I wonder how many immortal kings they have in the heaven realm. Chen Xiang looked at the G.O.D. hammer in his hand and sighed. When the sacred fire mountain was destroyed, the immortal king, immortal monarch, and the experts sent by the alliance all died. This news quickly spread to the whole of Dtian, making many people happy. Chen Xiang was currently hiding in a cave refining drunk God powder, and had already used all of his drunk God powder to deal with the young immortal king. If not for that, he simply did not have enough poison to numb the immortal king. Chen Xiang was currently hiding in a cave refining drunk God powder, and had already used all of his drunk God powder to deal with the young immortal king. If not for that, he simply did not have enough poison to numb the immortal king. That was really dangerous just now. If it wasn't for the profound Han poison in his body, the two kinds of poison I used wouldn't have been able to deal with him. It's really dangerous. I won't be able to deal with the immortal king in this way anymore. If the immortal king that died before didn't have profound Han poison in his body, he wouldn't have become so weak. He only used two kinds of strange poisons. Even if the poison in his opponent's body was deep, the other party wouldn't have died immediately. Furthermore, he also didn't have the power to escape, or perhaps, it would have lost his life just by counterattacking before his death. That's right, you are just lucky. The immortal king is much stronger than you can imagine, and only two types of strange poisons are unable to kill them. In the future, even if you meet immortal monarch, you cannot do this, Long Shui said. Chen Xiang had already used up all his profound Han poison, and he did not know where he should go to find them. Right now, he only had magical corruption gas and drunk G.O.D. magical poison on him, but they were not enough to deal with immortal kings, especially those kind of old immortal kings. The drunk God flower required Chen Xiang to copy for them personally, so Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu did not have a devil-suppressing golden body like him. Usually, he would remind Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu to leave these poisonous flowers to them as they were too weak. After he used the creation divine liquid to copy some of the drunk God flower, he immediately took out the Yanlong furnace and refined it into a type of powder. After he refined the drunk God flower, the poison was even stronger. This profound ice city was built by the Fire Divine Palace. He had to pay attention to the movements of the immortal king. If the immortal king took action, the plan to attack the Chen martial continent would continue, and that was what he was worried about the most, because facing two immortal kings at the moment, the Chen martial continent had no chance of winning, unless he could get the White Tiger out. During the 9 years he had been sealed, the White Tiger hadn't come to save him, so he knew that the White Tiger must have some reason. At this moment, he didn't go find the White Tiger, unless he was forced into a corner. Chen Xiang guessed that the 3 immortal kings in the Fire Divine Palace had all taken different paths. Maybe the 3 immortal kings had always been at odds with each other, and their opinions could not be unified. If not, the Fire Divine Palace would not be plotted against by Chen Xiang time and time again in these years. The 10-year deadline hasn't arrived. Back then, that old fellow said that as long as time was up, he would attack Chen martial continent, and the young immortal king probably planned to do the same, but the power that was led by that young immortal king has already been eliminated by you. Now, only the Hall Master and the mysterious immortal king has appeared. Long Shui said, I still have some time. I need to use this time to quickly raise my strength, and I don't know about Xianxian's and Yu Lan's current strength. When the time comes, if these 2 immortal kings join hands and attack Chen martial continent, it would definitely be a great danger. If Chen Xiang wanted to quickly raise his cultivation, he could only listen to the method of consuming pills. Previously, it was already very difficult for him to step into the Nirvana tribulation, but now, to enter the 8th tribulation, it could be said that the difficulty was more than 10 times higher than before. Although he could extract the energy from the profound being, that method would not last long. I need to refine a real heaven-level pellet and use the heaven-level's medicinal ingredients. This was the only path that Chen Xiang could take. As long as he could refine heaven-level pills, it would mean that he would be able to refine a large amount. At that time, not only him could get promoted, his friends and the people around him would also benefit greatly. Right now, ground-level pills were not very helpful to the Nirvana tribulation experts. If they had to rely on ground-level pills to treat their injuries, it would be pretty good, but to raise their strength, they would need a lot of time and resources. If there was a heaven-level pill, it would be different as well. Right now, you need a certain amount of time to concoct a heaven-level pill, but I'm afraid that it will be very difficult to do so in a short period of time. Right now, you can't even concoct many types of high-grade ground-level pills. Su Meiyao said. If Chen Xiang was able to refine a low-grade heaven-level pellet in this short amount of time, it would mean that Chen Xiang would ascend at a rapid pace in the next few years. With the help of a large number of low-grade heaven-level pellets, the speed of his growth would definitely be extremely terrifying. I can now skillfully refine Relive Dan-S. I have already mastered the high-grade ground-level pills pretty well. Moreover, I have rich experience in refining super pills. I feel that I can refine low-grade heaven-level Hunyuan Dan-S within a short period of time. Chen Xiang said. Back then, when he was gambling in the sacred Dan city, he won a portion of the Hunyuan Dan's medicinal ingredients. Su Meiyao sighed. Then let's give it a try. I also hope that you can improve more in the area of pill refining, but from the looks of it, the time you have spent in the Tao of Alchemy, the requirements for you are too high, although your talent is outstanding, but don't force yourself. After all, it is better to be stable and steady. In the past, she would probably be more selfish. In order to help herself recover faster, she would force Chen Xiang to level up faster, but it was different now. Instead, she was worried that Chen Xiang had leveled up too fast, so she would leave behind some flaws that she wouldn't be able to fix in the future. At the same time, he also cultivated the divine way, condensed the divine soul, and entered the realm of perfection. He had strong mental strength, and the heaven-earth killing method he cultivated was also the ancestor of many powerful divine art. Heaven-level pill, I'm here. Chen Xiang took out some medicinal ingredients for the high-rank ground-level pellet, the 9 quenching body Dan-S, and the 5 elements profound Dan-S. These 2 pellets used to be high-quality pellets that he thirsted for very much, but now they were unable to satisfy him. Su Meiyao said, Right now, these 2 pills are only used as a springboard for you. As long as you refine these 2 pills, you will have even more experience because the ingredients for these 2 pills are extremely difficult to process. But even if you can refine them, there is still a long way to go before you can refine heaven-level pills. As long as he could concoct a heaven-level pill, he would be a Dan King. It sounded like there would be a very strong reputation behind it, but Chen Xiang knew that this kind of Dan King would not be much of a big deal as compared to those immortal kings, who were simply trash. They would still be able to be killed. As long as he could concoct a heaven-level pill, he would be a Dan King. It sounded like there would be a very strong reputation behind it, but Chen Xiang knew that this kind of Dan King would not be much of a big deal as compared to those immortal kings, who were simply trash. They would still be able to be killed. However, in the face of an immortal king, he was still too weak. If he could become a pill saint, he would be able to look down on the entire heaven realm, and would even be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the powerful forces of the heaven realm. The heaven-level pill has only just begun. Once he calmed down, he began to refine the 9 quenching body Dan. This was a type of pellet that strengthened the body, but it was of no use to Chen Xiang's current body of heavenly sage. It could at most help to dispel the fatigue in his body. Right now, he was inside the profound ice city, but he was hiding very secretly. Here, he could let Long Shui better monitor the Fire Divine Palace's palace master, and he would immediately know the moment the hall master makes any movements. Within 3 months, Chen Xiang had already learned how to refine 9 quenching body Dan-S and 5 elements profound Dan-S, but he did not immediately refine the Hunyuan Dan-S for the low-grade heaven-level pellet. With his current alchemy level, refining Hunyuan Dan-S was still far from enough. Even though the upper and lower heaven levels were only at the same level, there was a huge gap between them that was difficult to cross. For example, right now, he only needed to be at least at the 10th level of the foreseeing alchemy to concoct high-quality pills. But in order to refine low-quality pills, he would need to refine at least 100 of them or even more. If I were to refine a low-grade heaven levels Hunyuan Dan, it would probably take me 120 stages, and it would take me several months to refine a batch. Su Meiyao said. This was also the reason why Su Meiyao previously said that Chen Xiang was unable to cross over to the heaven level pellet in a short period of time. It was because such a huge difference in strength was something that would take a very long time to shorten and a large amount of time to raise one's foreseeing alchemy. Chen Xiang used several methods to refine a Hunyuan Dan, but none of them were complete because his level of foreseeing alchemy was not high enough, and was unable to predict the change in quality of the medicinal ingredients. Furthermore, when the medicinal ingredients were being burned, there were too many types of changes, and it was difficult to make up for it with the experience of failure. The moment he thought about controlling over 100 foreseeing alchemy, and about making prediction errors, correcting them in time, and training from the moment he corrected them, Chen Xiang's head started to hurt. And during the condensing of the pellet, the kind of correction error and frequent adjustments during tempering was even more so, causing his head to hurt. My flames are definitely enough, even though I don't have the heaven's flame like Li Baojun. Chen Xiang thought that he had enough flames. He did not have any heaven flames, but heaven fire soul was no pushover. He already had the most basic requirements to refine a heaven-level pellet. Foreseeing alchemy needs a long time to be grasped. If not, those immortal kings would not be so old, otherwise, Dan immortal and pill saints would not be so rare. It is already not easy for you to be able to master a high-grade ground-level pill in such a short period of time. You can be considered a genius alchemist who has lived for so many years. Su Meiyao consoled Chen Xiang. She was also an alchemist, and had a deep understanding of the Tao of alchemy. She had walked this path step by step over the years. According to what you said, I would need 2,000 to 3,000 years to refine a low-grade heaven-level pellet. Chen Xiang clenched his fist. The pellet that you and Sister Yu need is a holy level pellet. If I want to refine it, I would need to wait even longer. How can you and Sister Yu wait that long? We are happy that you can think of us. It's been a while, but you are my hope. We are full of confidence in you. The longer it is, the longer it takes. Bai Yuyu's voice became gentle. This encouragement gave Chen Xiang a lot of strength. This won't do. I must hurry up and let you see the sky from a new place, step onto this land from a new place, and stand at the peak of the strong. The reason I have my current achievements is all because I have met you. Thinking about the two girls still having to stay inside the ring for a very long time, Chen Xiang's heart inexplicably ached. If there was no other choice, no one would stay in that virtual S.P.A.C. and spend all day with some flowers and plants. It was such a lonely thing. Who wouldn't want to swim arrogantly in the vast world? To these two former experts, this was an extremely cruel matter. It was like a bird had its wings cut off, and a fish could not stay in the water. Su Meiyao said faintly, "There is no other way. This is the rule of the way of pills. When we initially placed our hopes on you, we made preparations that we could wait, and you never let us down." Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu could deeply feel Chen Xiang's strong emotions at the moment, but they could not rush such things. He needed a footprint to walk out, and he needed countless of time to build it up. As long as it's a rule, it was made by humans. Rules are originally meant to be broken. I feel that along the way, I've broken many rules and established my own. Chen Xiang took a deep breath and thought back to his experiences, suddenly feeling proud of himself. Heavenly alchemy, let me experience the true power of you. Many profound techniques surfaced in Chen Xiang's mind. He looked carefully at these profound pill techniques with thirst and spent a lot of effort to understand them, because this heavenly alchemy was a heavenly book. He understood the words inside, but after combining them into one sentence, it became extremely profound. Seeing Chen Xiang become so serious and determined, Su Meiyao felt extremely gratified. Bai Yu sighed lightly. Chen Xiang just sat there and tried to comprehend the heavenly alchemy. The previous Dewan refining method and earth swallowing technique were relatively easy, and he even had the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord's explanation, but the rest were gone. The 10 Heavens Supreme Lord also could not understand some profound technique. In these past few days, he did not return to the dragon subduing school, nor did he go there. This caused Xue Xianxian and the others to be extremely worried for him, and thought that he had gone missing again. This was also the time when the Fire Divine Palace was the most likely to attack the Chun Martial Continent. So that's how it is. I finally understand it now. I can try this method. Chen Xiang, who had been sitting motionlessly, suddenly blinked his eyes. His face was full of excitement. What technique is this? Long Shui anxiously asked. In the past few days, she had called out to Chen Xiang many times, but Chen Xiang did not answer her. Chen Xiang smiled slightly. God purification, this may let me say my goodbyes to the foreseeing alchemy's refining methods. The God purification, that Chen Xiang had mentioned at this time, made Su Meiyao and Bai Yu extremely curious. They knew that Chen Xiang had spent a lot of effort to find this heavenly alchemy. The God purification, that Chen Xiang had mentioned at this time, made Su Meiyao and Bai Yu extremely curious. They knew that Chen Xiang had spent a lot of effort to find this heavenly alchemy. What is this God purification like? Is it inside the heavenly alchemy? Long Shui anxiously asked. Originally, there was no Dewan refining method in the heavenly alchemy, nor was there the earth-swallowing art. That was created by the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord himself through comprehending the heavenly alchemy, which was why I was able to easily master it, and now, I need to rely entirely on myself to study this heavenly book and create my own way of refining pills. I finally understand why the White Tiger said that this heavenly alchemy was stronger than the heaven-earth killing method. Chen Xiang clenched his fists in excitement. He could tell that he found something astonies. Ing from the heavenly alchemy. Why do you understand? Long Shui's heart itched. She only asked Chen Xiang a few questions, but didn't get a definite answer. I feel that the heavenly alchemy is a true heavenly book. It contains all kinds of heavenly mystery and the laws of nature's way of operating. As long as one can understand this book, one will be able to see through the world. Heavenly alchemy is not able to refine the heavens, it is not able to refine everything, but to refine the heavens. Chen Xiang also felt that what he had said was too whimsical, but he had indeed seen a lot of vague things from the heavenly alchemy, which made him feel that the heavenly alchemy was becoming more and more extraordinary. Then you must really be careful. Maybe the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord perished because he saw something that he shouldn't have seen through the heavenly alchemy. Su Meiyao anxiously warned Chen Xiang. She was worried that Chen Xiang would bring about that kind of heavenly calamity. How powerful was the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord? Under that natural disaster, they could only bear with it. I know. Chen Xiang took out a black fruit that was covered in golden markings. This black fruit was a Hunyuan fruit, the golden markings on it was flickering, and each time it flickered, people would be able to feel the dense energy it contained. These spirit fruits had been formed after many years of nurturing by the heaven and earth. It could be said that some spirit trees had formed crystals that contained strange powers. After being refined through alchemy, these powers could become even stronger and could be of great help to humans. Flames suddenly emerged from Chen Xiang's palm, and he immediately burned the Hunyuan fruit in his palm. The main ingredient used to refine Hunyuan Dan was not only the Hunyuan fruit, but also 2 other very stubborn-looking medicines. What are you doing? Long Shui saw Chen Xiang burn the Hunyuan fruit, just like that, and felt his heart ache. Because if the Hunyuan fruit was burned too much, it would explode and the power inside would quickly dissipate into the heaven and earth. I'm concocting pills. Chen Xiang's eyes flickered with flames as he gazed at the Hunyuan fruit in his hand. I've never seen someone concoct pills with their hands before. If you are going to waste this Hunyuan fruit, how nice would it be for me to eat it? Long Shui pouted. Although she was inside the ring, it did not mean that she could eat as much as she wanted. Although she was hungry, she still listened to Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu's words. Chen Xiang said, "My God purification is to use my powerful divine power to infect this fruit, and make the spirit inside the spirit fruit submit to my divine power. Before, when I was refining the Qi Shindan, those medicinal ingredients were friendly with me, and those kind of medicinal ingredients are more docile, so they were able to establish a connection with my divine soul. However, the vast majority of spiritual medicines are hastily hostile towards humans, and it's difficult to dispel this hostility, so this is the only way." Previously, when Chen Xiang was refining the Qi Shindan, he had thought of this idea. When he was refining the pills in the future, he would communicate with the spirit inside the medicinal ingredients and enter the interior of the medicinal ingredients. After he went to study the heavenly alchemy, he was able to decipher some of the more obscure sentences. He knew that many spiritual medicines were born to be natural enemies with humans, and that this was how they were created. All things have a spirit, but the spirits in the world are all hostile, which is why there are so many different types of things in the world. There are many different kinds of strange plants and animals, as well as many different kinds of special ores, and if these spirits are not hostile, then it is very easy for them to be compatible with each other. In the end, there is only one kind of existence, and in the case of a spirit being hostile, in order not to be devoured by the other, it would evolve itself. There's another explanation for my God purification, and that is that this medicinal plant is in my hands, and I am its God. If I ask him to surrender, he will have to surrender. The stubbornness of medicinal herbs is a headache for every alchemist. If there was the slightest mistake in the refining process, the medicinal herbs would be destroyed, allowing the fusion of multiple types of medicinal herbs. If there was the slightest mistake, the furnace would explode. Why does it sound so mysterious? Long Shui kept staring at the Hunyuan fruit. It was a lower heaven-level fruit and it tasted good. She had only eaten some before, but every time she finished eating, it would have no effect, so Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu did not allow her to eat more. Chen Xiang had used his palm to refine the Hunyuan fruit for 3 days and 3 nights like this. He had not only burned it, he had also focused his mind and used his strong God power to burn the spirit inside the spirit fruit in a unique way, burning the mind and body of the Hunyuan fruit. Finally, the Hunyuan fruit moved and the seemingly sturdy fruit glowed, and the fruit was slowly dissipating, looking like it was turning into a powder. It was also at this time that Chen Xiang suddenly felt a slight pain in his head. He, who was originally a little agitated, had now turned pale, and the Hunyuan fruit that was burning on his palm had turned into a burst of golden light and disappeared. I got a backlash. Although I didn't succeed, it still proves that this method is feasible. I can quickly refine a low-grade heaven-level pill. Chen Xiang's pale face flushed red from excitement. Su Meiyao didn't understand his method in the slightest, because she had never studied the heavenly alchemy before. She was unable to understand Chen Xiang's peculiar thought process, but she was extremely supportive of it, because she had personally witnessed Chen Xiang repeatedly breaking the rules and making her own. What a waste, what a pity, this Hunyuan fruit's taste is pretty good. Many spirit fruits do not have this kind of taste, sweet and sour, biting it feels great. Long Shui sighed. Only your dragon mouth can bite out this kind of feeling. Even if an ordinary person were to bite their teeth to pieces, it would still be difficult to bite off a piece of skin. Chen Xiang said. Is there still time? Aren't you going to go back and take a look? Su Meiyao could tell that Chen Xiang already had an idea in the area of refining heaven-level pills, but he didn't know how he was going to achieve his goal. Is there still time? Aren't you going to go back and take a look? Su Meiyao could tell that Chen Xiang already had an idea in the area of refining heaven-level pills, but he didn't know how he was going to achieve his goal. With the little naughty dragon staring at the Hall Master, as long as the Hall Master doesn't take action, I do not need to worry. Chen Xiang took out a piece of root. This was one of the main ingredients to refine Hunyuan fruit S, the root of the Hunyuan fruit tree. Su Meiyao sighed. She knew that he was the type of person who was immersed in refining pills. Everything else would be difficult to disturb, and she had the same experience in the past. She would be indifferent to anything. Fire Divine Palace has another immortal king. You should be aware of this point. Don't just focus on this Hall Master. Su Meiyao warned him. She did not want Chen Xiang to delay matters. Although Chen Xiang's strength was greatly different from the immortal king's, only Chen Xiang had a way to deal with the immortal king. Chen Xiang thought the immortal king who was hidden was a big problem. The immortal king acted on his own accord, and the immortal king acted on his own, so he acted on his own and ended up like that. The palace lord did not want the hidden immortal king to be destroyed like that, and the experts of the Fire Divine Palace were few as well, so it was not a good thing for the palace lord. From this, he was able to obtain the latest news from the Chun Martial Continent. The ones in charge of gathering information in the Dragon Subduing School were Lan Lan and Yen Yenran, and as such, the people in charge of various parts of the Tian city were left behind secret signals for him. Only after he was done with these matters would Chen Xiang be able to refine the pellets with ease. He had to hurry up and refine the heaven-level pellet so that he could get past the 8 nirvana tribulations, and at the same time, use the heaven-level pellets to recruit a group of secret disciples. Su Meiyao said, "This Hunyuan tree root is much more difficult to deal with than the Hunyuan fruit. Although the roots aren't as stu r dy as the Hunyuan fruit, the inside was extremely complicated. When I was refining the Hunyuan Dan, most of the reasons for failure were because I was unable to control the complex changes to the root. Sometimes it was cold, sometimes it was hot, and every time it changed, the temperature would be different. Sometimes it was very hot, and when it steamed the air, it was like a fire coal, but sometimes it was warm and comfortable. When it was cold, it could freeze a basin of water into ice, and when it was hot, it could be used to boil the water. This Hunyuan tree root is indeed a miraculous medicine. A cold and a hot one represents a yin and a yang. I have the yin and yang God blood, so maybe I can control the changes happening to it." Chen Xiang opened up his palm, letting the piece of tree root rest on his palm. Then, like before, he released flames to burn the piece of tree root. He did not know what he was doing, and the root was not tasty, so Long Shui did not feel the pinch, but he did not understand the meaning behind Chen Xiang's actions. Long Shui and Su Meiyao had both asked Chen Xiang before, but Chen Xiang didn't explain it clearly to them. Just like how he treated the Hunyuan fruit before, Chen Xiang sat there without moving, staring at the burning Hunyuan tree root in his hands. It lasted longer than the previous Hunyuan fruit, and this Hunyuan tree root also changed a bit. It was originally pitch black, but now it had turned snow white. Chen Xiang's expression was calm, but his eyes revealed excitement, as if he had successfully completed something. "Little scoundrel, there's an old woman looking for the Fire Divine Palace's Hall Master. They're outside the sealing formation right now, at the place where you were previously sealed." Long Shui suddenly transmitted to Chen Xiang, because it was an extremely urgent matter. "That old lady is not weak, and from the looks of it, she should be on equal footing with the palace mistress. She should be that hidden immortal king." Chen Xiang frowned. The burning white tree root in his palm suddenly burst forth and disappeared, but he was not disappointed, because he had already grasped the first stage of creating God purification. Can I eavesdrop on their conversation? Chen Xiang asked. The appearance of the hidden immortal king was a good thing for him, because that way he could monitor the immortal king's movements. Sure, I'll pass it to you. Her perception technique was better than Chen Xiang's, allowing her to swim faster and more stealthily. She even transmitted the appearance of the old lady into Chen Xiang's mind. The immortal king that was hidden in the Fire Divine Palace was a female, although she looked to be in her prime, and was about to run out of oil. She was extremely powerful. Just by wandering around, Chen Xiang could clearly feel her oppressive aura. In order to not be discovered, Chen Xiang did not dare to go near. In terms of the divine way, he could not compare to Long Shui, but Long Shui could do it very secretly. Ji Qiongjin, what do you mean? You actually suspect that I killed your junior brother? That brat messed up my plans, but it's not enough for me to kill him myself. The hall master's voice was filled with rage as his face flushed red. Chen Xiang immediately understood that the young immortal king was the old granny's junior brother. It's actually Ji Qiongjin. She's still alive, said in an astonished voice. Both she and Bai Yuyu could hear the conversation that Long Shui had turned around to hear. Ji Qiongjin was also furious. Other than you, I can't think of anyone else who has the strength to destroy the entire Sacred Fire Mountain. That Sacred Fire Mountain is an array disk made by the Tianhua Emperor, and only you know the weakness of it. If you investigate thoroughly, you will be able to know that the boy was poisoned earlier. He was struck by the profound Han poison because he made things difficult for the Ghost-Killing King, and after the conflict with the Ghost-Killing King died and a large number of people were poisoned. Your subordinates should have informed you about it, right? Ji Qiongjin's wrinkled old face twitched, and he said coldly, so that's why you are lucky enough to destroy the formation disk, cause the core volcano to erupt, and destroy the entire Sacred Fire Mountain. Right now there is no proof of your death, so whatever you say is reasonable, but you must take responsibility for this matter. If you don't want to attack Chen Martial Continent, you don't have to, but you have to hand over your men to me. Ji Qiongjin suddenly took out a fire-red order badge. Looking at the images that Long Shui had sent over, it was extremely dazzling. Fine, go and attack Chen Martial Continent. Since you want to court death, I won't stop you. Don't think of Chen Martial Continent as so simple. The head of the palace coldly snorted, then walked into a small residence and continued to guard the ceiling formation. That Ji Qiongjin had left and even brought along a large group of strong individuals with him from the profound ice city. These were the people that the hall master could command, and could also be considered a part of the strong forces in the Fire Divine Palace. Where did they go? Chen Xiang immediately moved, following the person Ji Qiongjin brought away. The hall master was no longer worth of monitoring. He was only curious what the hall master was afraid of, and actually did not dare to attack the Chen Martial Continent anymore. She went to a place in the Devil Realm. It seems like she has been hiding in the Devil Realm the entire time. Let's go, I'll tell you what city they teleported to. After Long Shui finished speaking, he asked again. Sister Meiyao, do you recognize that Ji Qiongjin? Back then, she was also a great beauty in the demon world, with countless pursuers. Her master was a strong sky demon, and was as powerful as our master, ruthless devil venerable. However, in the end, she went to the 9-Heaven Devil Palace, and did not come back. I didn't expect her to have a junior brother. I heard that she's fallen in love with her junior brother. Is he the guy you killed? That's great, hee hee. Su Meiyao suddenly giggled, laughing extremely happily. I don't know what happened to make her become so old. Back then she cared a lot about her looks, because I heard that your Miss Yu was prettier than her, so she chased after her for a few hundred years, and in the end, even involved me. At that time, she was taught a lesson by my junior and junior sisters, and in the end provoked the masters of my two families to come out and fight for her. Chen Xiang never thought that such a thing would happen between the two of them, and couldn't help but sigh. Su Meiyao laughed tenderly. If we were to appear in front of her now, it would definitely be enough to shock her. It's just that I don't know how she managed to join the Fire Divine Palace, but the Fire Divine Palace is actually a disciple of the Heavenly Devil Realm. Su Meiyao laughed tenderly. If we were to appear in front of her now, it would definitely be enough to shock her. It's just that I don't know how she managed to join the Fire Divine Palace, but the Fire Divine Palace is actually a disciple of the Heavenly Devil Realm. Bai Yu scoffed. She is just a bored person, her talent is not bad, but in order to earn the T. of the number one beauty in the Heavenly Demon Realm, she fought so many battles, killed countless women, still did not give up after provoking us, and targeted my sister, and was poisoned to death by my sister in the end. She had to spend a lot of effort in order to restore her appearance. If it wasn't for such a terrible thing, she would have used her energy to cultivate, and she wouldn't be like this now. Chen Xiang was secretly surprised that Bai Ziqian was actually so vicious that he killed many people just so that he could be ranked a little closer to the top, yet he destroyed that person's face. This hatred should not be able to be dispelled. He felt that women were sometimes a lot more vicious than men, and were also a lot more bored. Little scoundrel, you have killed her little lover now. If the beauties in Heaven Realm who were chased by her were to find out, they would definitely be grateful to you. Su Meiyao chuckled. So it's like that. When the time comes, I will definitely accept their thanks with great enthusiasm. Chen Xiang laughed sinisterly. Chen Xiang came to an older, but very large city in the Devil Realm. This city was located in the center of the Devil Realm, and Chen Xiang did not know the distribution of power here. Chen Xiang had to admit that the Fire Divine Palace's overall strength could actually penetrate all the way to the Devil Realm. He suspected that the Demon Realm also had its own branch hall. The Devil Cultivator in the Devil Realm were also humans, so the cities here were not as unbearable as those established by the evil demon. Even though they were a bit old and worn out, they still made people feel comfortable. Chen Xiang decided to stay in a tavern and choose the type of courtyard he wanted. Furthermore, he needed to have an underground training room to allow him to concoct pills below and at the same time, allow Long Shui to observe and eavesdrop on Ji Qiangjin to find out their plans to attack the Chen Martial Continent and the power of their attack. There were only two main ingredients for Hunyuan Dan. Chen Xiang had already experimented on them before, and now it was finally the time to refine them. Is it really okay? No matter how I think about it, I just can't understand how the people who created the foreseeing alchemy could succeed in refining the Hunyuan Dan without using the foreseeing alchemy. There are a lot of changes in the high-grade medicinal ingredients, and it's very difficult to predict how many layers of foreseeing alchemy will be able to solve this problem. Su Meiyao said. Sister Meiyao, you'll know when I refine it. I think that when you recover your strength in the future, you'll be able to learn this secret technique of mine. Chen Xiang was very confident in his G.O.D. purification. He took out the Yanlong furnace, but only threw a large number of supplementary ingredients into the furnace to burn. It was very easy to burn the supplementary herbs. In a few moments, it would be reduced to medicinal powder and medicine aura. After taking care of the supplementary ingredients, Chen Xiang took out the Hunyuan fruit and burned it on his palm like before. It was just that this time, the burning time was different from before. He used an even stronger flame this time, and he also released a barrier that covered his palm to prevent the energy from exploding out. What made Su Meiyao feel that was somewhat inconceivable was that when he used to burn spiritual medicines in the past, spiritual medicines would always release a very strong glow, and some spiritual medicines would even release colorful strong lights. Previously, when Chen Xiang used his palm to burn, the flames weren't strong enough, so it was normal for them to not emit light. But now that the flames were so strong, even the spirit medicine did not react at all. Although he could not see it, he could still feel Chen Xiang's mental exhaustion right now. He had done the same thing last time, in order to not let the spirit inside the spirit herbs resist him, so that the spirit herbs could completely refine the spirit herbs. It was just that it was not easy. He had not achieved the final success the last 2 times, but it was possible, because he had already started to refine the spirit herbs slowly. Using a raging fire to burn the Hunyuan fruit made it extremely unstable, and its reaction was extremely intense. It fiercely swayed in Chen Xiang's palm, and looked as though it could explode at any time, while Chen Xiang also felt a very strong pressure at this moment. I never thought that when these invisible spirits are burned by the flames, they would become so many times stronger. Even if my divine power is so strong, I could still stubbornly resist for so long. If it wasn't for the path of cultivation, I'm afraid it would be difficult to use the God purification. No wonder the heavenly alchemy and the heavenly alchemy were placed together back then. Chen Xiang thought, and continued to use his divine power to attack the stubborn spirit inside the medicine. This situation continued for more than 3 hours. Suddenly, with a boom, the Hunyuan fruit exploded and shone with a gold light. The gold mist lingered over Chen Xiang's palm. Seeing this, Su Meiyao sighed. Let's just use our foreseeing alchemy honestly. Isn't it just spending a bit more time? Senior sister and I can afford to wait. No need. Chen Xiang suddenly laughed. He blew a breath of air, and the gold mist above his palm flashed, and a small pile of golden powder and golden mist appeared in his palm. This! Su Meiyao was shocked, although there was only a small amount of powder, but it meant that Chen Xiang had already succeeded, and as long as he did not explode like before, he would be able to obtain more powder. The golden powder was the medicinal powder refined by the Hunyuan fruit, and the mist was the medicine aura. The traditional method of refining pills was to complete these procedures inside the furnace, but Chen Xiang did not need to rely on the furnace to complete them on his own. As an alchemist, Su Meiyao quickly understood Chen Xiang's thoughts. He knew that Chen Xiang had used some secret methods in the heavenly alchemy to first refine the herbs into medicinal powder and medicine aura outside, then throw them into the pill refining furnace and fuse everything into a pill. So that's how it is. This heavenly alchemy is indeed extraordinary. No wonder the White Tiger told you to use it with caution. Su Meiyao sighed. She suddenly felt that Chen Xiang had already graduated, because in terms of alchemy, Chen Xiang had walked down an unusual path, and she was no longer able to guide him, but in a certain aspect, Chen Xiang's current achievements had already surpassed hers. Fire is a difficult problem. With how powerful my current flames are, I should be considered one of the top experts among the majority of alchemists, but it's still so arduous. This kind of refinement method has a high requirement for fire, and it also has a high requirement for divine power. Chen Xiang placed the small amount of medicinal powder and medicine aura into the furnace for preservation. As for the flames, it will be very difficult to raise them. However, after you have said through the 9 nirvana tribulations and become an immortal, you should be able to try activating the fire energy that is hidden in your body. It should be able to allow your fire soul to reach a higher level. Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang had more and more hidden flames within his body. The previous heaven's fire seed, as well as the earth's mind crystal, would allow him to completely unleash these hidden flames if he needed it, allowing him to nurture an even stronger fire soul. However, he was worried that his body would not be able to endure the powerful fire soul. Currently, Chen Xiang's breakthrough was not just limited to allowing him to refine heaven-level pills, but also allowed him to open up a unique method of refining pills. It was possible that he did not do such a thing in the last 10 days at Great Yen City. Chen Xiang took out the Hunyuan fruit again. Just now, a large portion of them had exploded, and the remaining small amount was not enough. He could only increase it with this method. He knew that it would be impossible for it to go so smoothly in the beginning, but for him, it was already a big step forward. It looks like Hunyuan tree roots are easier to refine, but in the eyes of us alchemists, Hunyuan tree roots are much more stubborn than Hunyuan fruits, but in your hands, it's different. Su Meiyao said. Because I have the yin and yang God blood, I'm not afraid of its alternating between cold and heat. I can sense that kind of change ahead of time, so I'm prepared. Chen Xiang said. It can be said that the Hunyuan tree root and I have some closeness, so I was able to progress further last time in one breath. Last time, Chen Xiang was disturbed by Long Shui, so he did not reach the last step. However, he was sure that he would succeed in the end. In this situation, Chen Xiang looked extremely relaxed, but he was also trying his best to calm himself down and concoct pills, so how could he not be anxious when Wen Jiqiangjin was going to attack Chen Martial Continent? Now that Long Shui was watching him, he could go and concoct the heaven-level pellet in peace. In this situation, Chen Xiang looked extremely relaxed, but he was also trying his best to calm himself down and concoct pills, so how could he not be anxious when Wen Jiqiangjin was going to attack Chen Martial Continent? Now that Long Shui was watching him, he could go and concoct the heaven-level pellet in peace. This time, the Hunyuan fruit still exploded, but left half of its powder and medicine aura, which was a little more than the last time. It seems like the flame is my current bottleneck, and I don't have enough divine power. Chen Xiang sighed, took out his Hunyuan fruit and continued refining. Maybe I have enough fire. Maybe I don't know how to use it cleverly enough for me to cross the river by myself. It is indeed difficult. Chen Xiang looked at the raging flames in his palm and thought to himself. Long Shui said, Your divine power is not weak. Although I don't know how much energy you need to consume to use this method, I just feel that you have not used your divine power to the best of your abilities, or perhaps did not fully display your divine power's power. You've frequently encountered such situations before, so your usage of the divine power still needs strengthening. Chen Xiang nodded, he thought so too, and asked, Did that old woman make any movements? There are no big movements, but there are quite a lot of small movements. It is possible that she is from the heaven demon realm, so she is very unsettled in devil realm, and many of the big shots and powerhouses are giving her face, and will temporarily stop the war at the human realm, and withdraw all of her power. Furthermore, she seems to have to go and contact the strong warriors of the demon realm. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang frowned, this was not a good thing, this Wen Jiqiangjin could use his prestige to pull many powers to ally with the Fire Divine Palace, and this time, he would be even more powerful than last time. The good news is that this old woman does not plan to attack Chen Martial Continent herself. It seems like even immortal kings like them do not dare to do anything. Long Shui said, I heard her say this herself. She said that she will lead from behind and will not partake. 1p8 in any battles. If these immortal kings can make a move, then they wouldn't need to gather so many people, but for what reason can't they do so? If the white tiger doesn't appear in Dtion, it would be hard for anyone to defeat them, but their Fire Divine Palace has 3 immortal kings, although they can't rule over Dtion, but taking down the Chen Martial Continent will not be a problem. Chen Xiang found it hard to understand. These 3 immortal kings really wanted to take down the Chen Martial Continent, and it would be extremely easy for them to do that. However, they did not do that, but instead sent many of the disciples of the Fire Divine Palace to their deaths. I don't know, but it's a good thing. At least we don't have to worry about facing a guy of that level. You already have the luck to kill another one. You have to understand that you were only lucky to kill that old woman's lover. Long Shui solemnly warned Chen Xiang. She wanted Chen Xiang to understand that he was definitely not a match for the Immortal King right now, and asking him not to foolishly go and fight with the Immortal King. I know that, but there will be a day when these Immortal Kings will be trampled underfoot. Chen Xiang frowned and said softly, and then continued to refine the Hunyuan fruit with the God purification. As long as he could refine some more powder and medicine ores, this part of the Hunyuan fruit would be considered a success, and the following Hunyuan tree root were not that difficult to refine, because they belonged to the yin and yang attribute and had a mysterious feeling of affinity with him. After a period of time had said, Chen Xiang's blazing palm suddenly released a weak golden light. A few cracks appeared on the Hunyuan fruit, but this was the sign of an explosion, and every time this happened, a burst of extremely strong and bizarre spiritual energy would surge out from the Hunyuan fruit, directly hitting his divine soul. It was the same this time. He felt his divine soul tremble slightly, then he strengthened his flames, allowing his divine power and flames to fuse together and burn the Hunyuan fruit's demon spirits. This was, after all, a heaven-level spirit medicine, even though it was copied from a creation divine liquid. The power contained within it was not weak at all. All of these heaven-level spirit medicines were nurtured by the spiritual chi of heaven and earth for more than 10,000 years, and contained within them was a unique power that was unique to the heaven and earth. It seems like I didn't succeed completely this time. What's the problem? Chen Xiang sighed in his heart, followed by a booming sound. His palm was shrouded in a golden mist, and he closed his eyes as he recalled the things that happened during his previous failures. The inability to suppress the spirit inside the Hunyuan fruit led to the spirit medicine controlling a portion of the spirit beast's power to counterattack, causing the spirit beast's power to become violent and unpredictable, and it was hard to suppress it, unless the spirit beast could be destroyed or the spirit beast could be completely suppressed. He stored this half of the medicinal powder and medicine ores in the Yanlong furnace. This Hunyuan fruit part would be concocted in 3 different sessions, which would waste more than half of it. At this time, the Yanlong furnaces were fusing together, forming the complete part of the Hunyuan fruit, and there were even more of them. Next was the Hunyuan tree root. It could be said that the progress of the Hunyuan tree root was very smooth, and during the refining process, a strange feeling appeared, allowing him to easily refine the Hunyuan tree root into white powder. The medicine aura and the medicinal powder did not lose anything. He felt that the reason he was like this was because of his yin and yang God blood. However, not every medicinal ingredient was of the yin and yang attribute, so he could not have any sort of lucky thoughts. In the future, he would have to continue using his strength and perfect the God purification. He, who was used to not wasting any herbs to refine pills, would waste more than half of the herbs when he was refining the Hunyuan fruit, which made him have a knot in his heart that was difficult to get rid of. Generally speaking, the last step was the hardest and most crucial part. But for Chen Xiang, the last stage of refining the medicine was the most difficult one, and compared to the later stages of condensing the medicinal pellet, it was easier. It was the most difficult stage of refining the medicinal ingredients, and it was also the most difficult stage for him to condense the medicinal pellet. Inside the Yanlong furnace, all sorts of separately refined medicinal ingredients were finally about to gather together. Chen Xiang injected the flame, and under the heat, the medicine aura and medicinal powder inside seemed to have been refined, as they emitted bursts of dazzling light. At the same time, they were squeezed together by the divine power released by Chen Xiang, forming a ball of air that slowly rotated in the pill furnace, and sucked all the medicine aura in. That old woman is about to make a big move. What does she want to do in the middle of the night? Long Shui anxiously said, because she saw a large group of people gathered in a huge villa in the city. From her judgment, she could tell that this group of people were experts from the devil realm. Chen Xiang did not ask, because they were almost at the congealing pill and he could not afford to be distracted. As long as he could concoct this low-grade heaven-level Hunyuan Dan, he would have taken a big step forward. Only now did Chen Xiang understand the difference between refining a real heaven-level pill and refining a super pill. When refining this heaven-level pill, the tyrannical power was much more difficult to deal with than when he was refining the super pills. Only now did Chen Xiang understand the difference between refining a real heaven-level pill and refining a super pill. When refining this heaven-level pill, the tyrannical power was much more difficult to deal with than when he was refining the super pills. These super pills had all been squeezed together by many different ingredients. If one refined them like this with 1,000 of them, they could reach the effects of the heaven-level pill, but it would take a lot of time to refine them. Furthermore, the actual effects would definitely not be as good as the heaven-level pill, so one could say that the refinement process was not that big, as long as one could afford to waste time. But right now, what was truly required was a large amount of energy and experience to refine a heaven-level pill. For example, Chen Xiang currently had no experience, so dealing with the endless changes during the process was extremely difficult. The cyclone in the furnace was as large as any other low-grade pills, but it contained countless times more energy than those low-grade pills. If they were to be pressed together and solidified, the explosion of energy would be extremely powerful. Chen Xiang had already released a large amount of divine power to surround the ball of air whirl, but the medicinal powder and medicine aura made from spirit medicine were still mixed with a large amount of spirit energy. These spirits were born with strong resistance power, and after fusing together, they became even more tenacious. At this moment, Chen Xiang felt as if his divine soul was standing on the S.A.O.R. E of a ocean, being hit by wave after wave of extremely strong waves, as if he was about to disperse. This was the unprecedented sense of danger he was facing in Alchemist, and in the worst-case scenario, his divine soul might be heavily injured. In my furnace, you have to listen to me, I control everything. Chen Xiang's face sunk, the divine sense sea suddenly flickered with sets of golden lightning bolts. Like the rolling divine power in the ocean, they turned into golden dragons and jumped out from the divine sense sea, striking the ball of air and splitting it into two parts. Let me handle it. Chen Xiang released the dragon transformation skill's God power and injected it into the Yanlong furnace. The two cyclones were surrounded by a few small dragons, and the dragon transformation skill was slowly shrinking, squeezing the two violent air cyclones into two pellets. Clang 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 clang. During the process of being squeezed, the quality of the air whirl kept on increasing, and the power that exploded out was also terrifying. If the Yanlong furnace had become transparent, that kind of light would definitely be able to blind normal people. As the furnace gradually stabilized, Chen Xiang's tensed mind also relaxed. After a moment, he took a deep breath, although he was very tired, but his face was filled with joy, because he had succeeded. My God purification succeeded. The reason for Chen Xiang's happiness was this: the God purification was a divine concocting method he had created based on the heavenly alchemy. If he could succeed now, he would no longer need to use such a complicated method like the foreseeing alchemy, which was hard to grasp. He opened the Yanlong furnace and two pellets that were emitting a resplendent golden light floated into Chen Xiang's jade box. Although he had wasted a lot of Hunyuan fruit before, when he took out the pellets, he still maintained his style and gave out as many pellets as possible. This little scoundrel. And he actually succeeded. He didn't even need 100 layers of foreseeing alchemy, and was only able to refine 2 Hunyuan Dan with such high quality. Su Meiyao looked at the jade box that Chen Xiang had given her. Chen Xiang's breakthrough this time had completely overturned her previous understanding of the Tao of alchemy and made her unable to accept it. However, she had to admit that Chen Xiang had already walked down a path of his own and did not need her to guide him in the field of alchemy anymore. Furthermore, she could not offer any pointers. At most she could give him some advice and hints based on her own experience. Chen Xiang took out a few medicinal pellets and ate them. He closed his eyes and rested as he lightly said, "I really want to have a good sleep, but I can't do it now. I still have a lot of things." "Little scoundrel, you're amazing. You don't need to use that D.A.M. Ned foreseeing alchemy to concoct a high-rank pill. You must have really learned from me back then." Su Meiyao muttered, "The hards. H.I.+P.S. she went through in refining the pill back then, she could not bear to look back. Sister Meiyao, I will definitely teach you in the future. This G.O.D. purification is still incomplete. I believe it will be easier to master in the future." Chen Xiang laughed. "I said it before, I must use the shortest amount of time to help you recover your strength. Do you really want us to leave you like this?" Su Meiyao snorted. "Did you think that without us it would be more convenient for you to pick the flowers and provoke the GRASS? Chen Xiang looked wronged. "No way." Long Shui laughed. "Allowing Sister Meiyao to recover his strength is because he can take her, right, little scoundrel? Little pervert, I really want to take you in right now," Chen Xiang said snappily. "The things that your dragon race has in mind are all so filthy as expected. Keep an eye on that old woman. When I recover, I'll have to carefully plan out how to deal with her in secret." Long Shui said in a tender voice, "I understand." The old granny gathered this group of people here for a meeting, but from their conversation, it seems like they do not intend to attack the Chen martial continent at the very beginning. Chen Xiang was a little surprised and asked, "Oh, then what do they want to do?" Long Shui said, "They plan to go to the various big shots of Chen martial continent and have a talk with them, because they have already confirmed that there is a dragon vein there, and they want to get a part of the Chen martial continent's power to be given to them, and also let them these demon and devil realms as well as some other powerful forces of the human realm, to build their own mountain gate above the Chen martial continent and own their own territory." Bulls. H.I.+T. Only an idiot would agree with that group of B.A.S.T.A.R.D.S. They had no good intentions from the beginning. Entering the Chen martial continent and giving them a portion of dragon bloodline, isn't that equivalent to letting them become stronger? Even pigs wouldn't do something like feeding tigers and causing trouble. Chen Xiang said angrily. If Chen martial continent does not agree, they can continue to attack, right? They are planning to do this. If they truly come to an agreement, they will be able to own their own land in the Chen martial continent. Wait until they become strong, then they will annex the original powerful forces in the Chen martial continent, and with the Fire Divine Palace as the main force, they will dominate the entire new imperial heaven world, occupy all resources, and take in all other forces. Long Shui said, "At that time, they will use the reason of seizing the Dragon Fountain as a piece to persuade Di Tian and the others to put pressure on the Chen martial continent." Chen Xiang recovered and asked, "When do these people plan to move?" "I don't know yet, but they will first go to the original Pill City in Continent of the King. With their great efforts, the situation there has gradually gotten better. That place is more lively now, and it is being controlled by the Fire Divine Palace." Long Shui said, "They have another reason to go to Pill City, because that place is close to Dragon Subduing City, and they seem to be planning to make a move on him."